What the hell is going on inside of the Boise School District? You are like this legend inside the school district of how many people are supporting you for standing up and fighting and not giving up.
They need to get out of my playing field. They are the problem. Follow the money, follow the names, follow the power. Your kid's not that special. They're just another social security number in the Boise School District. And it's become a cesspool where good versus evil is fighting.
It's terrifying.
A person's job is not who they are. It's just the cloak they wear to accomplish the things that they want to accomplish, whether they're good things or evil things. And there are more children that need my help.
Dr. Laura Boulton, we have some catching up to do.
Yes, we do, sir.
The last time we had you on was episode 74. During that time in our conversation, then you were helping a foreign exchange student. Some things got really weird inside the Boise School District. You ended up getting some backlash. You start digging. You start uncovering a whole entire pedophilia ring that you believe goes back to what, the 80s inside the Boise School District with the ivory tower, and they're hiding people and people that are getting in trouble, getting caught doing horrible things with students, teachers, all kinds of stuff going on in the system and how they move things, shift things, and what's going on. Since then, there has been, it almost seems like monthly, that a family member, a child, a teacher, somebody from the Boise School District is filing a lawsuit. It seems almost monthly now. You have stood up and almost taken on this crusader position, now helping all of these families, these children that have been neglected, left, discredited, denied, all the tactics that has been going on inside this system. You are now almost like this beacon of light for these people, for hope, and helping them fight everything that's going on with the corruption, the pedophilia, all of the worst things that you could ever imagine going on inside of a school district. You are now in the center of all of this. You're going to Congress, you're talking to senators, you are trying to get this everywhere. That's why I wanted to have you back on to catch up the audience on what the hell is going on inside of the Boise School District that we're getting slapped with lawsuits every month, every other month. So we are homeschoolers. Don't have a fight in this game. But you are a huge advocate for public school, and you're fighting your ass off because obviously private schools is for the elite, wealthy kids. I mean, a lot of people make sacrifices for their kids to go to private school. Same with homeschooling. We've made major sacrifices to build the life that we have for our children, but not a lot of people get that opportunity. So public school is a huge, huge importance in our system for our children to be able to go and escape things that are going on at home, to maybe get a meal, to have safety, to build friends, to have confidence or a relationship with teachers. It's a very important thing that you're standing up and fighting for. Since your episode went live, we've had hundreds of kids reach out, teachers reach out, parents reach out. You are like this legend inside the school district of how many people are supporting you for standing up and fighting and not giving up to the bullies, the hammering, all 24/7 coming after you to do everything they can to discredit who you are as a teacher, as a doctor, and everything that you've done for the last 20 years of teaching. So you bring some credentials, 20 years, 12 different schools. No, how many schools?
13 schools.
13
5
schools,
states.
5 states. You've taught every single subject. So you bring some knowledge to this conversation of what should be going on in our school systems versus what is really going on. So we got some stuff to cover in this because this is just wild to me. So in true fashion, who are you? Where are you from?
My name is Dr. Laura Boulton, and I was born in a country called Malaysia, and my family immigrated here to America in 1983. I was 8 years old, and we moved to Southern California, and I grew up there. I was am an ELL student, that's English language learner.
Okay.
But I dare say we're all learning English in this country, so we're all English language learners. But some of us don't speak it as our first language. I came here speaking it as one of several languages, but academically, it's a different culture. I'm also a special education student. I have dyslexia and ADHD. I didn't know any of that until I went into my bachelor's at USC to get my teaching degree, and I started taking teaching classes, and I was like, oh, that's me. I didn't ever know that. In the Asian culture, we don't look to necessarily diagnose. It's more like, well, this is the problem. This is how you're going to fix it. If you're behind in math, you should do more math. If you're behind in reading, you should read more.
Which makes sense to me.
Yes, rather than labeling it and then perhaps pigeonholing that child to that glass ceiling, if you will.
Absolutely.
And then then standards lower and standards change to meet the lowest common denominator in the classroom, as opposed to having that huge potential of a human being, that soul, grow and blossom to meet their maximum potential. So I think, in a lot of ways, growing up in an Asian culture has helped me be stronger.
For sure.
Because I didn't have anybody making concessions for me or allowing me to basically not push myself to the next level. Of course, there was a lot of harshness to it that I don't wish for. That the American culture or Western culture is definitely kinder to their child, giving them choices and whatnot. I didn't grow up with the word choices doesn't exist in my language.
For sure. A lot of people don't understand in the Asian cultures, a lot of your future until you're pretty much adulthood is planned for you. I mean, your parents are going to push you into a specific school. You're going to learn specific things, or you're not going to school. You're going to help this or whatever it may be, the business, but things are really set in stone. And if you go against the grain in Asian cultures, your family, you just don't do that.
That's correct. We grow up with not the individualist thinking at all. We don't even realize that we are our own selves, because it's all about the collective all the time, but to a detriment, of course. Whereas Western culture the individualism in this culture has led to a lot of innovation. Right? That's why we have a lot of the things that we do. And it's good to be able to maximize your own soul and figure out where you belong in the universe. But I think there's a happy medium. I think there's a lot of things that all the cultures can bring to the table. And that's what I'm hoping to do for American public education system. So my platform is, Dr. Laura Boulton is here to reform American public education. And I understand the homeschooling, of course. I would be qualified to homeschool my own children. However, I choose not to, because the American public school system is what made me Dr. Laura Boulton, and I want to feed into that. Also, my doctorate, which I got, I'm going to my graduation next week at Liberty University in Lynchburg, Virginia, and I learned a lot about the ancestry of this country and where public education came from. As an immigrant, I came here when I was 8, so I didn't learn or remember much of my schooling. So a lot of Americans may or may not know this, but the forefathers of this country and the foremothers of this country came so that they could be literate, so that they could read the Bible. That freedom of religion piece, I think a lot of people know about, but you can't have freedom if you don't have knowledge. And so not everybody could read the Bible. And so public schools were set up for that in America. So that separation of church and state is obviously a contentious thing because it goes back to the roots of the country and whatnot. So studying that for my doctorate was really very interesting. I purposely chose a Christian university, one of the best in the country, just for that reason, because I am completely ignorant when it comes to Christianity or the roots of America, and I want to be able to call myself an American.
I love that, yeah.
Through and through. We all are, and politics aside, everybody belongs on this planet. We are all somebody's children.
Absolutely.
Whatever we call that somebody, and we are all brothers and sisters. So I want to help the collective because homeschooling pulls that ingredient out of the social we, right? And when you say that you don't have necessarily a dog in the game of public schools, that's true for now, but you don't know about your grandchildren and your great-grandchildren. And your children will meet other people that are, become part of your family perhaps, or become part of their friend circle. And those people go to public school. Absolutely. So your students are, your own children will always be affected by that, right?
And vice versa.
And vice versa, absolutely. Because we still live and swim in the same pond, you know? And I dare say most people that homeschool and are totally equipped to do it, and they're doing a great job, and their kids are well adjusted, and they still go get socialized, right? If you actually sat there and talked to those people before they had children, do you think that those people would say, well, I'm going to have kids, and I'm going to keep them at home, and I'm going to teach them for 12 years?
I think if you would have asked me that question 2 years ago, no. Now, 100%.
Right.
Because I have such an overwhelming amount of people. My wife's pregnant with her first kid. We're going to homeschool. I'm like, you got time. We're like, so that's I deal with so much of that everything because we're huge advocates on homeschooling. It's changed our lives. It's changed our kids' lives. And at the same time, but I going back
I'm an advocate for education, however people can get it.
Yep.
And if a parent can do their job to the 10,000th degree, homeschool all day long. Because there are homeschool pods. So then you get back to like the way we used to be
community
taught.
Learning to get like small groups, learning a specific topic with kids your and not even kids your age. I want to immediately go to that, but we send our daughter to these little co-ops.
Right. Well, it's the Little Red Schoolhouse, right? Yep. It is Plato's, it is Socrates, it is the mix of the heterogeneous age group, cultures, whatever it is, right? Where we can still morph, and then it ends up being partly public school in a way, right? Because you're back with the people, but now you get to choose the circle that you're being influenced by.
Exactly.
But I think that people go to homeschool, if I may be so bold, because they're running away from something.
The government.
They should. Right, because they can't trust the government.
That was our decision. Well, COVID had a huge part of that. We weren't going to allow our kid the games that they were playing. Mask on, mask off.
Right.
I think we talked about it a little bit. We discovered, my wife noticed our youngest was developing an eating disorder.
Yep.
Stuff and food crashing. She'd get bloated, so sick because she's eating that. And my wife immediately picked up on it. Was like, we're done.
Right.
And so then obviously fast forward to now, we've seen trust the science and everything else that's happened with the government. So that was we're done.
Correct. But it's not because you trusted something and chose something better. It's that you had distrust in something and you were running from it.
Yep.
And you have every right to. I completely support that. If I were in your shoes, I would have done it 1,000 times. However, my position is I'm looking at you and every other family that is running away. And I'm like, okay, please save your child. What's going on over here? Because there are people who can't run away, right? Like that's the advocacy.
Well, and that's where I agree with you, and that's why I'm giving you this platform, because that, like going back to my comment that we don't have a dog in the fight, to sit here and I'm not going to go protest at these schools and go to these board meetings because I don't have kids in the system.
Correct. But you care.
But here's this is how I can help is by giving you a voice to talk about what's going on.
Yep.
Because I can't sit here and get on my social media platforms and the Boise School, even though I do, but and sit here and this is why we're fighting as parents. We're all standing up. But I could be like, hey, we've made a different choice in our life. We've made massive sacrifices to protect our children from life of going outside our walls. But as a man, as a father, as a protector and a provider for my family, it's who I am in my DNA to, if there's kids involved, women involved, I'm going to do whatever I can to protect or at least give people the opportunity to share as much knowledge as they can. So when somebody's sending their kid to, we'll just use the Boise School District, for example, if they hear your story and go, okay, now they could at least talk to their kids. They're listening. They can watch. They can ask questions, which nobody's doing. I'm with you on all of this.
Yeah, it's all about awareness. I mean, I wish more people, and I have a lot of people in my life that homeschool because they ask me for advice about curriculum and things like that. It is the right thing to do. You save your family, but you, Bam, are special because you're still going back in the burning building with me.
100%.
Right.
So we just had Miss Chung on. That was one of my biggest things, and I want to get into this in our show, but she kept referring to all these other teachers she worked with. They're so amazing. They're incredible people and incredible teachers. I'm like, you can't call somebody and they're this incredible person if they know what is happening to children and they're not standing up and saying something. I'm not discrediting those people, but you cannot put somebody on a pedestal as being amazing if they know what is going on for women or children and they stay silent about it. You're not down on the bottom shelf for me. I don't care what your accomplishments have been. I don't care how many doctorates you've been to fucking space and Mars and you've cured cancer. If you know something is happening and you're not standing up for the weak and the ones that don't have a voice, not for me.
Correct.
And it's so that's who I guess I
No,
gotta
I
stand.
agree
I
with
gotta
you.
stand on. I gotta stand on my word as a man. Like, how am I gonna sit here and raise daughters that I'll always be here for you, but I'm gonna watch some other? I can't.
Right.
I can't give somebody my platform to come and talk, and
Correct. Yeah.
so that's where I'm at with it. But
Right,
yeah, I
right.
appreciate it. It's
Yeah.
just I can't sit back and not do anything.
A lot of people, even those with many dogs in the game, do choose to put their head in the sand, and I understand it because it's more that they're in a trauma mode right now. I don't know if denial is pretty strong, and so is fear, right? So I get that, but everybody goes through the same path, and I pray that if I just stay on that path and hold open the doors, that eventually people will reach me if they need me.
Yep.
And find the community that is here for them that's, very strong already.
Yeah.
So, the public school system currently is my focus. I worked in Arizona for a charter school, and the charter school system is also, it's a cool and viable solution. In many states, it works really well. Arizona is one of the oldest states that have charter schools, as well as Michigan, and they do a really good job. It's been around a really, really long time, but we're a very young state when it comes to charter schools, and there's no oversight in the state. In fact, a couple of years ago, when I first entered this public media arena, I discovered that somebody that had been appointed by a powerful official in our government appointed a pedophile to look after, I don't know what the title would be, but the commissioner at the state of the superintendency, almost like the state Department of Education.
Yeah.
So the representative that somebody in Idaho appointed to that council to look over all charter schools in this state is a pedophile. They have a criminal record.
Registered pedophile?
In a different state, correct. And they came here, and I don't know who knew or who didn't know, and I brought it to light to the politicians that I am acquainted with, and he left a week later. So
Good for you. Okay. That blows my mind, and I would love for somebody to make it make sense that you are getting hired to do anything with children. I don't care if you're a janitor in the school. Every single person should have a full investigative background check done,
correct.
especially in this day and age.
Correct. Yeah.
In the fact you're putting somebody in charge of all of it that is a registered sex offender in another state or not. You don't cross state lines and now you're a good person.
Right. There's no federal registry, unfortunately. And then, as much as we might want that, the Japanese puzzle box doesn't always fit. And the Rubik's Cube, if you turn it one way, you'll piss off the other half of the population. So I agree with all of those prerequisites. However, the bottom line is we don't have money in education. And it's going to take a lot of years to fix what it took a lot of years to break. And I'm in my 50s, so, I'll do this till the day I die. There will be no closure for my story, and I'm okay with that. I'm here to help kids. But the mindset in this country needs to change about education in general.
Why?
If you do not revere something, then you are not grateful for it. And if you're not grateful for it, then it becomes a piece of trash, and then you just throw it away. And that's what education is in this country.
That's where our public school systems have gone?
I believe so. Because it became free, right? It was something that Europeans came here and it didn't exist, and they needed it and wanted it and they fought for it. And then now it's hundreds of years later, and now we're giving it away for free. And the standards are so low, and it's become a cesspool where good versus evil is fighting. It's not even about the Republicans and the Democrats or the Christians versus the non-Christians. It's good versus evil because everybody changes political lines to behoove themselves as politicians. There's not a lot of integrity. Like, if you were to ask a little kid back in my time or your time, what do you want to be when you grow up? Somebody might say, back then in the 80s when I first came to America, a lot of little kids would say, I want to be the president someday. I want to be a leader. Let's play school teacher. I want to be the teacher. Right? And now little kids don't play games where they wish to be in leadership positions. They don't strive because, and when you say, for instance, my own children, one of my oldest wants to be a teacher. And when he says that, even I myself, and human, I am not immune to my reflexes, which is oh, really? But that's sad. So my mindset needs to be okay, I'm going to take my own medicine here and be like, I'm proud of my kid for wanting to join me in the fight.
Absolutely.
Right? Because we're always going to have children, and there's only going to be more humans, and those humans need to go somewhere to learn things to be the best they can be. And if we don't have teachers, then where are we, right? And if I have the wrong individuals in my landscape helping these little souls, they need to get out of my playing field. Like, if you're a teacher and your attitude is you don't smile till Christmas, you don't learn kids' names, you don't care, you don't want children ever, you don't like kids, you're not even an amiable person, right? Or you're doing this for the money, question mark, weird. You're doing it because you think it's easy? Like, I'm here to tell my colleagues now and in the future, unless you can love another child like they're your own child, and you can look me in the eye, I want you to quit today. Please. Because you are ruining lives.
They're the problem.
They are the problem. But we are also the solution. The teachers can be the solution. It is hard. It's
How
hard.
though? You guys don't have a voice. You're shut down.
I have a voice.
Yeah, but you're not normal, and I mean
am
that
not-
in a respectful way.
Absolutely.
I
I am not
describe
normal.
you to people as borderline batshit crazy in the best way possible. That's
Yes.
how I when I'm connecting, I'm like, you need to go to hold this woman. She is out of her mind, but she's the best person to have on your side because there's no quit in you, and I mean that in the most respectful way.
Absolutely.
Because you takes a little bit of just a little bit to be off to fight what you're fighting. And when you going back to these teachers and saying that, like, that's the problem is they're all tenured. They've been there 10, 15 years plus years. Now they're not going anywhere, but the light's not on anymore. They don't have the passion, and it shows. I mean, our these kids that are graduating from high school don't know anything about finance. They don't know anything about their own body. They don't know how to heal anything that's
Right.
going on. They don't even know how to balance a checkbook anymore, or they're taking away writing now. Everything's going on iPads and computers.
Yeah.
And these teachers are just going with it instead
Correct.
of fighting with it because they have their job. They don't want to, I got a mortgage, I got a family.
The system is very difficult. And the reason that teachers, my colleagues, I believe, are very downtrodden is because the things that have happened to me have happened to all the teachers in this country. I dare say, most of us. And if it hasn't, then that's just because you're a positive person and you didn't see it that way and you survived. So that's awesome. But there are a majority of the teachers in this country are amazing. They're wonderful. I dare just flip of a coin, 50-50, let's say,
Yeah.
right? But 50% of bad
shit.
teachers is terrible, right? But those individuals can choose to be better.
Yeah,
They
but
can.
are they being reminded that 12 years in when they're
Right.
dealing with these shit ass kids because
Absolutely.
now parents can't raise children anymore and they're dumping
Right.
them on you.
Right.
Now you're dealing with a classroom that you have, instead of probably when we were kids in the 80s and 90s, we'd have maybe one disruptive kid in a class.
Of 20, maybe.
Of 20 kids, 30, now you have 60 kids and 8 of them have behavioral issues. These kids,
Right.
it's terrifying.
It
and
is.
now, as a teacher, how am I going to sit there and expect my child to be bettering themselves when you're trying to just keep the train on the tracks in your
peace.
classroom
Yeah.
for an hour without kids getting... Now these kids are fighting over politics in school.
Correct.
I don't even know who the fucking president was till I was probably a junior or senior. I never cared. It was
Right,
not
right.
my business as a...
You were a kid.
I was a kid. I'm
being a
outside
kid.
playing. Now you see these kids, they're protesting. They're walking out of school and protesting for Palestine. And I'm like, holy shit, which great. Do your thing. I want everybody to be a free thinker and have your own beliefs. You're in junior high. Like, why are we not having these kids learning about their body, learning fasting, learning how to heal, learning, hey, these are the things that are going to cause cancer. This is how to eat a proper diet. Hey, let's turn our food pyramid upside down because it's been fucked our whole entire life. That's the type of stuff. But instead, you're sitting here going, okay, no, put that back. Hey, stop. Okay, you're hurting cats all day now.
Well, I will say my last year teaching was 2023. And in my 23 years of teaching, I have never really had a classroom management issue. And I've taught severe and profound special ed, ELL students, kids with ankle bracelets who got out of, the detention center for a hot minute to come to class. That was in Arizona and Texas.
But I feel you are different. You and I want to say Mrs. Chung, because I've gotten to know both of you over this last year. You guys are different.
Right.
I wouldn't even say you're the 50% of the good side. I'd say you're probably the 10 to 15% of the teachers that truly care, where you're connecting with your students. You're taking the time to get to actually learn their names, what's going on. You're smart enough to be like, okay, this kid wasn't acting like this all last week. Something has happened. But I feel most teachers aren't. So that's how it just...
Right. Well, it's compounded, and
exactly.
I mother my children. I mother my students. I don't call them my students. I call them my children.
Okay.
And that is part of my culture. I tell all my students on the very first day of school, you're all half Asian now. So if you think you're bad at math, that's no longer true. You can't be bad at math anymore. I'm giving you the Asian gene. And fun fact, I failed Algebra 1 3 times in school, in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. I'm a special ed student. I have ADHD and dyslexia, and I'm a math teacher, and I'm really good at it because I was really bad at it. I failed, and I failed, and I failed. And I think this country is not used to failure, and now we're failing so hard so fast.
But that's taught in public school.
But somebody wants this to happen. Like all the atrocities that we can throw our arms up in the air and be like, people will ask me all the time, like, oh my God, what's happening? I'm like, somebody wants this to happen. So we need to stop panicking, and we need to identify the issues, and we need to realize it's going to take more than a generation or two to fix. But there are more Laura Boultons out there. I am not... There's a bajillion people on this planet. I'm not that special. There's at least a few other more of me in this country, I dare say. But trying to connect with those individuals, that's my job, to find all the other beacons of light.
Yep.
And some people have that facet in them. They just don't know it yet until they know that they're not alone. And that's my job, is to just be that one person in that one situation that can help that person survive, and get through the darkness, and then they realize their power, and then they can help. I can't fix public schools overnight. No. Nobody can, but I can reach the hearts that really want to be there. And the hearts that are going to be there trapped for another 2 decades until they retire, I can try to befriend them. I can try to teach them. I can remind them why they got into this field to begin with. Not everybody's 100% terrible, I dare say, but we all have very different facets to us. Right? And the ones that perhaps my colleagues have said, oh, this person's so amazing, they're this, they're that, but they're not standing up for kids. That is one facet of them that I believe is also unforgivable. Absolutely. I've lost a lot of friends in Boise School District. I was at Bora. And just to clarify on your earlier narrative when you introduced me and you said something about a foreign exchange student, because, you deal with a lot of people's narratives, of course, so it's easy to get it flip-flopped. But I believe the incident you were talking about, because I've gotten in trouble twice at Boise School District. In 2018, I was suspended at Bora High School for helping immigrants. So it was
okay, sorry.
Yes, no worries. But it was basically a program for new Americans, whereby if you lived in Boise School District, it's no longer around. They got rid of it in 2018, which is why I got suspended, because I advocated for those kids. And if you were in country less than 2 years, you would get bused to Bora for a language immersion, like a school within a school. So, the kids were just among the Bora kids, but they had me for math, and all of them had me for math at the same time. So I had like the United Nations in my classroom.
That's cool.
All day long. It was amazing.
Yeah. Because you're learning so many different cultures and...
Right. And I'm of them. Like I am one of them, right?
Absolutely.
And I learned 30 different languages. I learned to count and say hello and I love you and thank you. And as I taught them, they taught me. And they saw me fumble. They saw me mispronounce things. They saw me, one of them, teaching them about how to be a good American. And that, yes, this country might make you feel a certain way, but you just got to outlive it. And your children will be American. And this is how you use your American voice. And I reiterated that, like with everything, there's always going to be a good and the bad, but it's better than probably the Schindler's List that you came from. Mm-hmm. And they were all so grateful. They were the kindest students. They always volunteered in class to speak up, even though their English may not have been perfect. And they worked really very, very, very hard, just like I imagined the forefathers of this country.
In the school system, at least for us in Boise, they wanted to remove this.
They did.
Program.
In 2018, the political climate changed and funding changed, and busing is the number one cost usually in schools. Busing and electricity, actually running the building. And they cut the program, and I and my students panicked because those who lived over by Boise High would now have to go to Boise High and read The Grapes of Wrath when they'd never held a pencil in their life, because refugee camps don't have pencils. And or even my very well-educated calculus students from Middle Eastern countries might not know what integers are. So they were really upset by the closure of our program. And so I told them, like, someday when you have children, you will speak up to what's called the school board. And we're going to go online, and I'm going to help you as American citizens, future American citizens, look that information up. And then you're going to go home and tell your moms and dads and your village community leaders that this is happening and that they too can speak up. And that maybe they can't save the program, but maybe they can at least put the safeguards in place when you go to Boise High so you have support there. When you go back to Capitol High, when you go back to Timberline, when you go back to East Junior High or wherever, because they shut down the program at Hillside. That was at the junior high level, and then Bora was at the high school level. So because of my advocacy for those new Americans, I was suspended in April, a month before school got out. And that was my first rodeo with Boise School District, if you will. And I was suspended through the summer. It was very nerve-wracking for me as an extrovert to be, put on house arrest, more or less. And I really thought that I did something wrong. And that's when I started seeing the cracks in their armor.
So you standing up for this program that they were removing, the Boise School District was removing to help immigrant children here, which is hilarious to me because this whole entire country and everything we're always pitched, we're that everybody's welcome. We want everybody to come to America and live the American dream, but then we're not doing anything to help these foreign children that are coming here that have no idea, like you said, even how to hold a pencil.
Right. Who are like protected under laws of asylum. And there are refugees. They're given, permanent residency cards. Yep. I mean, they were prisoners of war if they're stuck in their own country.
The least we can do.
It's the least we can do.
Is make sure we can help them learn the culture, I don't want to say religion. I don't ever push religion on anybody, but just the ins and outs of America. And here you are fighting for these kids, and then the Boise School District. Absolutely not. You stand up to them. Oh no, we're not having this, and they suspend you for the summer. Is that when? That's when the green light, the aha moment in your head. Okay, something's wrong here because of the kickback and how they treated you immediately. Mm-hmm. Correct.
Correct. That was, the icing on the cake, if you will. I had been suffering from a retaliation and a hostile work environment probably in my first year or second year there. I was hired along with the new principal in the school in 2014, and when that individual took his post at Bora High School, there was a mass exodus of teachers. That should have been an indicator. And I heard, many tales of his reputation, but, I'm not here to judge my future boss. I'm just happy to be here if I can help kids. So I was hired by that gentleman along with 5 other math teachers at Bora High School that year, and Bora and Boise School District as a whole doesn't usually have a lot of openings. So to have that many openings, should have piqued my curiosity as to why. So I started there, and then that year he started making changes to our program, and he removed the longtime department head, and then she retired the following year. She and I are still really good friends, and he placed me in her position without telling her. And he used me as a pawn. Luckily, she understood, and she didn't hold it against me, and we obviously worked it out. However, I realized, so he thinks I'm weak, and he put me in that position so that he can control me, and I didn't allow that. So then, my second, third, and fourth year there, he kicked me out of my classroom and made me a traveling teacher around the building. And I never got a stipend for being the department head. I ran a department of about 15 people. Teachers, paraprofessionals, counselors. I was in charge of their evaluations, which I was not trained to do because he didn't care about our evaluations, right? So it was a pretty terrible experience. It made me much stronger. The teachers at Bora are amazing. They helped me get through it, but they also turned a blind eye to him. He is retiring this year from Bora High School.
Can you say his name or no? Or do you want to?
I'd prefer not to.
That's cool.
He knows who he is. Anybody watching this will know who he is. His father was the principal there a decade or so earlier.
Is this the guy that has a brother that got caught masturbating in Costco and Walmart parking lot and got charged for both and still works for the Boise School District? Is that this guy's brother?
No, but they are all very well acquainted. So the
Okay.
monarchy in the ivory tower, the top level admin of Boise School District, that is, all go to the same, golf club. They all play poker together. They all go to the same Christmas parties. They all rub elbows unwittingly. They're all sharks in the Shark Tank. Like, they're not like really besties, right?
They all go to the same service for the
Yeah.
LDS church.
For sure. Well, some of them are, some of them are not actually. Some Republicans, some Democrats. Again, as an immigrant, I'm like, y'all are evil. That's all I know.
Yeah.
You're not good for kids. So, but that is not that individual. The individual that you speak of, I'm definitely free to say his name. His name is Kobe Dennis. He is the former superintendent of Boise School District. He was in office appointed to his post because they don't actually try to hire people in Boise. They just, move them around like monarchy.
Oh, for sure.
And he was there for a year or two. He is a legacy. His dad is Darrell A. Dennis, and his name is on the building on Victory Road. So he's daddy's boy. He was put in the superintendency, I believe, sometime right after COVID or whatnot. And he was supposed to be there probably until he died, right? But he left because I came on the playing field, and I don't think anybody wants to be tainted by my presence. So he retired after year 1.5.
Okay.
And then currently, the person that took his place her name is Lisa Roberts.
Okay.
She is also, the Duchess, if you will, who was groomed for that position, but probably not so early in the game. She's always been his right-hand woman. Not always, but probably for a long while. And she took the post. And then she's retiring this year because yours truly. And now the new superintendent, her name is Wendy Johnson. She'll take her post for next school year. She's the former CUNA superintendent. And from what I know from that community, my friends that live out in CUNA, there's a reason she left CUNA. And there's a building in CUNA that they dumped a ton of money into, and it's not being used because of bad planning, bad budgets, and whatnot. And that fell under Wendy Johnson's reign.
And she's who's stepping in now.
She is who is stepping in for Lisa Roberts, correct.
What is so difficult about finding someone that can run this position? Is it because it's the good old boy network and they're only pulling from within instead of actually finding somebody that's qualified to take this on and run
correct.
a school district?
Yes, it
Okay.
is the
That makes
British
sense.
monarchy. It is literally the British monarchy. The names, like Wendy Johnson, she has roots in Boise School District as well, even though she came from CUNA.
Okay.
So the good old boys extends into deep Idaho roots and
Oh, for
maybe
sure.
other states for sure. But it is definitely, there's the Roberts, there's the Dennises, there are the Stanleys, the Steinbrenners, the Clarks. There's so many names.
And these are all generational families that
it's
have
old money, yeah. So Idaho, Boise and the city and Boise School District predates Boise the state. This is what I learned from one of my former colleagues at Bora, because I was like, why is Boise so rich and everybody isn't? Because Meridian, Waseda School District, is actually larger by size, a lot larger by size. But Boise makes, hands down, way more money than the rest of the state. And my colleague who teaches social studies and American government type things at Bora taught me that Boise School District and the city of Boise has a lot of like line item things they can charge their citizens for that are grandfathered in that preceded the formation of Idaho as a state.
Interesting.
So Boise has a lot of money, basically.
Okay, with that statement right there, how are they cutting funding for how are they cutting funding for fuel and electricity are your two biggest expenses, but they have all this money? Where's it going?
There's a lot of positions in the ivory tower, I believe, that are illegal. Like, for instance, the brother of Kobe Dennis that you spoke of, his name is Kyle Dennis. He committed some crimes in the early 2000s. He was a coach and a teacher at a junior high school in Boise School District when he was caught at Walmart and Costco. And he still has his administrator's license, I think teaching degree, if you look him up online. And he is the director of their facilities and operations, like maintenance department, like right now, like today.
So you're saying today, still, since the last episode we talked, this guy that's been caught doing lewd things in parking lots twice. If you're getting caught twice, it's probably not the first 2 times that you're masturbating in your car in a parking lot. I'm just going to put that out there. Gets caught, charged, convicted, still works for the Boise School District.
I believe it was pleaded out. Is that the right word? To like a lesser charge, whatever that might have been. So I know it's horrible. I don't kill the messenger. So
But he still works for the school district.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he still draws a pension. He still gets, his retirement and health care. Now, I don't know if he actually goes to work because I don't know what he does.
But he's still employed.
But I know he has access to every building in the school district if you're working for facilities and operation. And yes, he's very much. I don't think he ever suffered a moment of unemployment. The same with Chris Ryan, who was the principal at Fairmont. When he was put on administrative leave, the Boise School District was defending him and his actions of negligence. And after the trial last year that went all sorts of sideways in the criminal court against him, he still had his job. And he got to choose to resign a year later. And he didn't get kicked out.
This is why we're having this conversation, because this infuriates, just boils my blood to max. Knowing that the Boise School District knows they have people that are being caught doing inappropriate things, going to court, being charged, being accused, and instead of being immediate, hey, we're going to put you on suspension until this is taken care of, the Boise School District doubles down and defends until it's too late, and these guys are either killing themselves, which a lot of them, for some reason, when all of these teachers, principals, or whatever get caught with molestation charges in the Boise School District, all end up offing themselves. Seems to be a weird trend there.
That's the Brotherhood Code.
Weird trend. Mm-hmm. The Boise School District will stand on that hill and die defending them instead of the children.
Well, it's the Fight Club. You don't talk about Fight Club, right? It's the Brotherhood Code.
This is the shit that's wild to me.
It's not a conspiracy. It's just common sense.
Make it make sense.
Follow the money. Follow the names. Follow the power. And when we use, the they pronoun to describe this entity, there is nobody at the helm. This is not the military. There's nobody in charge.
How though? How is this functioning if there's not the higher ups that are controlling? Who's the puppet master for the Boise School District?
There are many heads to this body, and they all fight each other, and they all take turns making bad decisions. For instance, the individual that is, I believe, one of our favorite individuals, who is the leader of my fan club, former Boise School District Council, Mr. Dan Skinner.
Oh, he's my favorite.
He has sexually harassed me. Mm-hmm. He in front of my husband, and then wrote it down on a piece of paper, and then gave it to me, and now it's in my personnel file. He has suborned perjury countless times, talking to little girls by themselves in an office, trying to tell them things, to try to tell them to not press charges. He has avoided the police on several counts, according to the police and police reports that are public record. He worked for Boise School District until this past fall, 2025, and then he stopped going to work for a hot minute, and then he resigned, and then he went to work for Boise School District's outside counsel, who's like an outside law firm that they have to hire because there's just so much on their plate that not one person can handle it. And he went to go work for them. I caught that. Individuals in the community told me. And then I reported it fervently via an email that I send out to the community. And then he resigned in, I believe, January, February of this year. Now he is somewhere out there floating around, still being held accountable. He has been named on a bunch of lawsuits, but I don't know what happens now that he has resigned. There's a lot of mysterious resignations this year. I've counted over 24 resignations from the administrative level of the Ivory Tower this year.
That's a lot.
24, correct.
What's going, okay.
27 to be exact.
27 members of the Boise School District.
Highest layer, correct,
are resigning.
or retiring, or stepping down, or maybe they're moving to Barbados. I don't really know.
But what are
and
the
not
chances of 27 doing it?
at the same time.
Huge red flag.
In the same district, in the same year. Many of them are short of their what's called rule of 90, meaning your years of service
Yep.
and your age equal the number 90, and you can take retirement. That's the magic number for many people. And many of them are short by a year or 2 or 3, which is weird. Like, if you're that close to the finish line, just do one more year.
100%.
So,
Red flags.
and some of those 27 could be like legitimate, like,
I'm sure.
I'm slated to do this year like I'm supposed to.
I'm sure.
And throughout the district, there's probably more than 27. So the ones that I'm speaking of are principals, vice principals, or higher. And there is a counselor on my list too, but that just might be a counselor that's been doing an amazing job at their school for 35 years. Or it could be a counselor that's affiliated with Scott Crandall from Fairmont Junior High School. I don't know those answers, but those are things I want to put out to the universe so that we are all aware. They don't like when we talk.
No.
They don't like when we communicate. They make us feel bad for it.
Evil hides in the dark.
Absolutely.
And when you bring things to light,
Everything dies that's bad and everything flourishes that's good.
you pull that cover up and all those roaches are sitting there, which is
Correct.
our Boise School District
Correct.
members, staff
Right.
of the Ivory Tower, that they're the roaches of all of this. And you're the light that comes in there just
Yeah.
ruining their party.
My students in my classroom one year, and that became like my nickname, I guess, is I might have allowed them an expletive, but they basically said I poop sunshine and rainbows, and make math cool, right? So that's good. As far as the 27, though, if I may share with the public, the person at the top of my list that I just learned about a few weeks ago is Nancy Gregory. She has been a member of the Boise School Board of Trustees for several, I think since I was born, 70s or 80s. And by all accounts, she's a pretty great advocate for children. Those positions are elected by the community. They're not paid. So I dare say I would hope that people on school boards have lots of integrity. My family is actually closely tied to her family, so I know that there are good roots there. However, when you have that much power and you sit in that seat for so long, I can only forgive you for so long.
For sure.
So
You can't play the ignorant, didn't know
there's
card
no
for
plausible
this long.
deniability. Once I entered the landscape in 2023 and I went on the news and I put a target on my back, I have a collection of knives behind me. They wiggle. It's great. I don't mind it at all. Like, I have nothing to fear but death, and I'm okay with that. So what, you know what I mean? Like, we need to speak up for kids. So she's stepping down this year. I don't know if I don't know what it's called. Maybe she's finished her like elected post time and she's not rerunning or whatnot, but she's leaving. And she was the board president at least twice, according to the internet. And she's going to be running for Idaho State Senator, District 15. And that concerns me.
Because if she's okay. So this woman, what's her position?
Nancy Gregory is a Board of Trustee member for Boise School District, and she is running for Idaho Senator.
So she's running for Idaho Senator while she's knowingly all these years I don't want to say she's allowed it to happen, but she has watched what has happened inside the Boise School District. She has watched what's happened to these children and the abuse and the pedophilia and just all the ratchet shit that has been going on under her school,
Under her charge.
is now running for senator in this state.
Of District 15, yes.
I wonder what she would turn a blind eye to as a senator.
That is correct.
If she's doing it for children, what is she going to do it for at the state level?
That is correct.
See, those are the type of people that we need to get the fuck out of here.
That is correct.
All the boomers need to go. We need to swipe all of these slates clean. Everything that is in Congress, Senate, it does not matter. She needs to go.
Yeah, unfortunately, stuff like that usually takes anarchy, and I don't want that. I don't want.
I think we're there. I think we're there. Everybody talks about it. We're just time and just making change and a difference.
It needs to be ugly before it gets pretty. I mean, America's very young. We are way younger than the Roman Empire, I dare
sure.
say. Technology makes us older probably, but yeah, this lady, no, I can't support that.
Especially when you have stuff going on. If you are not, why would I vote for this senator running in Idaho if she's not on the front line standing up for children? Why are you going to defend me?
Right.
How are you going to defend me as a resident of the state of Idaho when you can't even defend children underneath your ruling?
Right. I mean, Boise School District just lost $7 million to 7 victims. That was a unprecedented cases here because of the pedophile last year, Gavin Snow, who killed himself at Valley View.
There were 7 people just from him?
Now there is an 8th that just came forward recently. Yes, that's correct. And there are more, of course, because he perpetrated so much and had hundreds of thousands of artifacts in his devices. So there's more people and there are more children that need my help. But she, Nancy Gregory, was a part of that at the end. She knew there's no plausible deniability. And it's fine if not fine, it's semi-forgivable. If you knew something happened and that was the first time you learned about it, well, then you should be able to have preventative measures, right? There are several in the time I've been with Boise School District that they came onto the board and they were there for like a year. A lot of them didn't make it half a year, and then they left. And then they come and then they leave.
They get in and they see what's actually going on. And those are the good people.
Yes, those are the good guys. Those are the good guys. I've met and talked to several of them, and those are the ones that they decided they saw the darkness and they walked away.
Why don't they speak up?
They should, exactly. That's what they need to do, and they won't, because when people get to a point in their life where they are happy with themselves, there's a choice between speaking up for others and paying your own mortgage. And I get it. I don't not get it. I take very much perhaps for granted that my husband can provide for me and that I don't need to work, and I've never needed to work. So I didn't need that paycheck. But, it doesn't matter. Money's not more important than a child's life, ever. I don't care who that kid is. Ever. I don't care what color their skin are. I don't care what their religion are. I don't care what their abilities are or are not. That is a soul, and that soul needs my help. And it makes me sad that there are teachers who used to be my friends at Bora High School who have turned their back on me, and they've turned their back on the kids because they're scared. They're scared of the principal that is retiring this year. I am sad for most of my Timberline colleagues that have done the same thing to me. There are several in both schools that are still very near and dear to my heart, and we keep in touch and stay connected because there are good people everywhere, right? If you'll allow me, this might sound a little crass, but there were good people in Hitler's regime. There were. That's how Hitler fell, right? Those good people. But there needs to be more, and there just needs to be no Hitler's regime. The children shouldn't be going to school in a Gestapo state where bad things are happening and they can't trust their teachers because their teachers care more about their own jobs and mortgages than their students' lives and livelihood. But then the system is broken, too, because the district has become this weird Epstein entity that's all about hiding things. So it's the British monarchy. How do you undo that? How do you undo years of corruption and racism and money and greed?
You revolt,
right? And it starts with 1. It starts with 7. It starts with more. Every year that I'm on this landscape, even at my death, God forbid, it's untimely. That will only spurn more fires. But as long as I breathe, the numbers will grow. I have 28 perpetrators listed on my public list that I have been able to compile just by Googling, because I have nothing better to do. And not all of them are sex crimes against children. Some of them are just bad people being jerks to their colleagues at school. But to the degree where you show up in a newspaper or get reprimanded, that's major, right?
If it's going that far... teacher on teacher, right? If it's going that far with another adult...
That is correct, sir.
How far will that go with a child that won't speak up?
That's correct.
That's how I look at things as a dad. If I'm going to sit here, you've been charged, say you're one of these people that you have on your list, and you, for harassing and bullying another teacher to the point where that teacher left, and then you got reprimanded, there's just enough off that
Correct.
drove you to get another teacher to whatever the situation may be. You ended up in the paper and you ended up as on a record that you have found. Those are the type of people that I would want immediately removed from the school system. Right. Personally, that's just how I think.
Right. But they never have. And the people that you speak of are part of them woven into their family trees. Like the gentleman that I reported myself, actually. So moving beyond Bora, I was suspended and then forced transferred to Timberline in 2018, along with most of my staff that I worked with at Bora. A few of them stayed at Bora, but most of them aren't there anymore either. So I went on to Timberline by myself, unlike a few that went to Boise High together and Capitol together. So I went to Timberline. I was told that I was never allowed to be in any supervisorial position, no leadership position at all. I was just a classroom teacher. I was forced to be a traveling teacher for 3 of my 4 years there. And it was awesome focusing on my teaching, but eventually, because you love kids like they're your own babies, they open up to you and they tell you things about their boyfriend and their girlfriend and how they're sleeping on the couch because they're homeless, which is a mandatory report. That's a violation of the McKinney-Vento Act because that kid is homeless. So there are funds, federal funds, to help that individual. I hear stories about suicides and all those sorts of things that I thought you might deal with refugees more, but they're so happy they would never think to kill themselves. They made it.
Left the war zone to come here. They're like, what do I have to be miserable
Right,
about?
and none of them are medicated. None of them have anxiety. None of them have ADHD.
Okay.
And then I end up at the Timberline student body, and there's so much sadness there that it took me a while to understand it, right? And also trying to understand the American culture again, because I'd worked with my immigrants for 4 years there. So then students started sharing things, and then I would do my job, which is to go tell my building administrator and file a mandatory report appropriately. Now, I would like to report to the public right now here, if you watch no other part of this and my babble, know this. Boise School District has been breaking the law for years, and they trained their staff to go to, quote unquote, the building administrator or a district official. End quote. That is against the law because a mandatory report is a 3-step process, and the law says, Idaho Code 16-1605, which Senator Tammy Nichols and I amended this year, says you must report to law enforcement within 24 hours.
So
period.
That's the loophole. So the Boise School District, if I'm understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, the Boise School District has this law that they go to their own administrative council. So if they do that, it goes around the police department, which would go public. So that's how the Boise School District keeps everything hush-hush inside the walls of the ivory throne so they can control and move the pawns, right? Am I tracking this?
That's exactly what I am saying.
That makes sense of why you come on here. We've talked. I get all your billions of emails every week outing all these people. What doesn't make sense to me going through this is like, how are the cops?
Yeah.
How are the cops not showing up?
Right.
I have cops that are friends of mine that their kids go to these schools and they're hearing these stories. How are you not? How is this not a thing? And we don't hear about it.
It's a tiny, super important link that's missing.
And you're fighting this link.
Correct.
You're reconnecting the link.
I didn't even know the link was missing. I had to diagnose it myself by living through it and being harmed by it and then seeing my students get harmed by it. So I kept filing all these mandatory reports at Timberline to my building administrator, and they weren't going anywhere. And I didn't know they weren't going anywhere because we're not allowed to follow up either. Because, don't ask little Johnny tomorrow if he's fine because that violates his HIPAA for PACOPA whatever law, and you don't want to meddle in John. Okay, I'll just trust that you did your job. Now at Bora, when I did the same thing, there was an amazing administrator there, and he always did his job. He always went to the cops. So I never knew the difference. That even though the law was broken, not Boise School District law, their policies and procedures were already broken at that point. But because I had a good administrator that had integrity, he always did the right thing. So I just said, oh, okay, so this is your chain of command in the military. I trusted my chain of command. I trusted my chain of command in West Ada when I worked for 2 amazing principals at Centennial High. They always did their job. Bora, that one specific vice principal, not the one that's retiring this year, the vice principal underneath him at the time, I thank goodness he was my supervisor. He always did the right things by my refugees. And he would call in the police. Now, maybe that's, SOP for immigrants. That's, maybe because of immigration stuff, right? But then I get to Timberline, and slowly but surely, I still see Johnny suffering with cuts on his arm. That should have been dealt with. I filed a report about that. So then I checked back with the counselor, and the counselor has no idea what I'm talking about because I actually went to the principal. Principal never talked to the counselor. Nobody told the SRO. Poor guy has an office right there. The cops are being blamed for it. Blue lives don't matter. This and that. Blame the police. No, please don't. I'm here to tell you that the Boise Police Department has been amazing to work with.
Okay. That's what we want to hear.
Amazing to work with. Now, are there bad cops? Yes.
100%.
There are great teachers everywhere. Are there bad teachers? Yes. That's why it's not about teachers or cops or politicians. Evil. It's about good versus evil.
Preach it. Preach.
It's about good versus evil. You guys, a person's job is not who they are. It's just the cloak they wear to accomplish the things that they want to accomplish, whether they're good things or evil things. So the majority of the Boise Police Department, one of the captains is such an honorable man that I know him through my Taekwondo program. And I have Taekwondo family friends that also have known him even longer and only speak the highest of him. So I know he got that promotion because he deserves it. He was a lieutenant when I met him 3 years ago. The sergeant actually, that I met initially that brought me into the fold of Boise Police Department. Now, I'm not a cop. I'm not trained to be a police officer. I know nothing about the law except for what I've learned the last 3 years and I Googled, and with Senator Tammy Nichols' help. And the sergeant called me on my phone the day before my press conference in September 2023 and asked me to help him. And I said, sir, I would be happy to help. How am I going to help? And he said, you're going to go on TV and you're going to be a beacon of light and everybody's going to come flocking to you. Because in our experience, Mrs. Boulton, the Boise School District has never broken through the fourth wall and addressed the police. They will not engage with us. We can't subpoena stuff. They stonewall us. And teachers won't talk to us as witnesses to crimes.
Red flags.
And that sergeant gave me all that information on that first phone call and asked me to help. How could I say no to the police department, to a man who was asking me for help? So absolutely.
That's also terrifying.
That is absolutely terrifying. That was 3 years ago.
That this lieutenant at the time. Sergeant.
He's now a lieutenant.
Now lieutenant is coming and going, hey, we can't get inside the Boise School District. They're not sharing anything with us. The teachers aren't coming out with witness reports. That's, as a parent that had a child inside the Boise School District, hearing a sergeant of the Boise police say that, whoop, gone immediately. Immediately, if you have your local law enforcement saying that there's a wall between them and the Boise School District, that is absolutely terrifying to me.
And I can prove it. Everybody should get on their computer right now, if they're not already watching us there, open up a second window and Google Fairmont Police Report. You could type in ABC Channel 6. You can type in CBS Channel 2, and they ran stories about it. There's a PDF file online. The full PDF file is over 120 pages, and it is the Fairmont legal case against Boise School District and Chris Ryan and Dan Skinner and other named parties, such as I believe maybe even Lisa Roberts or Kobe Dennis, whoever was in charge at the time. It has a lot of teachers' names. They're not redacted. The things that are redacted are children's names, of course.
For sure.
Of that 120-something page report, I am like 15 pages of it. Not me as an accused individual.
Just what the shit you've stirred up on.
Because I keep the police either openly included, CC'd, or blind carbon copied, BCC'd on everything. Because the only way I can protect myself from an assassination is for everybody to know that I got red dots on my forehead and everybody's out to get me. And that's not going to stop me from doing what I'm doing. And that's not going to stop somebody from taking me out, right? So
especially when you're kicking the hornet nest to the elites.
Correct.
Oh, here's my question. I guess we might get there. You're rubbing elbows with senators.
That's correct.
How are we not going to Governor Little and being like, hey, sir, here's your school districts. Here's the police department that is worried about what's going on inside the school districts. Do something about this. is he part of the problem or solution? Is he an asset or a liability?
I've never met Governor Little. I've seen his pictures on the internet. I've heard bits and pieces of what others think of him.
For sure.
I know the letter that goes after his name is an R. I also know that the Illuminati is real. The Knights Templars are real.
Fight Club
is real.
100%.
And that sometimes very powerful people that don't do what they could and should do are puppets. So I might hypothesize that there's money controlling him.
Oh, it's everybody.
Right.
But
So
it's just, how much money, though, to sit here and know that...
I don't know how much money Epstein had, whatever. I don't know.
This is the corruption. This is why 10,000 kids have unregistered from Colorado school systems this year.
Correct.
Pulled because of the trust. This goes back to our beginning of conversation. This is why my kids will never be inside the system, because you have from the top down. Everybody wants to praise old Governor Little. I'd love to have him in your chair right there, and I would ask him these questions. I would love to, because I know old.
He never interviews.
He won't.
No, he doesn't go on debates.
Well, then he'll go on. I think he did like Matt Todd, the Ranch podcast.
And they talk about innocuous things that don't
stupid
matter.
as shit. Nothing that matters.
Nothing controversial. Nothing controversial ever.
See, and he would never come on my podcast and do this, because they know I would ask real questions. And that's where I have a problem with these political podcasts, which they're dead. Nobody gives a shit about political podcasts anymore, because we all know it's corrupt. We all know it's lies. You can sit here and ask any question. Everything they're spewing out of their vile mouth is a lie.
Correct.
So nobody cares anymore. But we all want to praise Governor Little because he's a Republican, and he's doing this, and we're going to bring back, and no more LBGT flags downtown, and whatever, all the crap that all the brainwashed left and right want to fight each other over.
Well, it's all about divide and conquer,
Yes.
because when you divide and conquer, the little ants on the hill all fight it out, right?
Yep.
And you get, basically survival of the fittest. And the children continue to be forgotten because they're just gun fodder for pedophiles. All this is happening because somebody wants it to happen. I think that, stupid, poor people are easier to control.
Every time.
So if you force people to keep their children at home that are not qualified to homeschool, and you have everybody live in their own, nuclear bomb shelter, then they turn on each other, and it becomes apocalypse now. It becomes, zombie apocalypse. And that's somebody's plan. Like, somebody wants that to happen. That's very obvious. I don't want that to happen, but I have to acknowledge that that's what's happening. I don't have to accept it. And it's not a conspiracy. It's just data points, right? Things are happening. Kids are leaving school. Enrollment is down. Budgets are down. I don't know where the money is. It's going somewhere. It must be going to somebody that doesn't deserve it, because that's all that makes sense. It's Occam's razor. The most, obvious answer is the right answer. In the case of the guy that I reported on Tuesday, December 7th, a day that will live in infamy in 2021, was the head softball coach at Timberline High School.
What did he do?
He was inappropriate with his softball girls on his team in a plethora of ways, whether it was verbal, visual, physical.
Oh, he did it all. He checked all the boxes.
Correct. Okay. I don't believe that it was, sexual assault, but definitely
enough.
From what I know of the law now, it may have been labeled as sexual battery.
Okay.
Battery is any physical contact with clothes on.
Yep.
Yeah. And I only know that because somebody close in my family is going through the legal processes of all of that mandatory report stuff in Ada School District, mind you. And Ada has done a really great job following through the way they should, because the crimes aren't the school district's fault. The crimes are a staff member's fault. And how you handle that and make that person an example to the community, it makes you a good district or a bad district. And from what I have now, if it's systematic, like in Boise School District, then
that's where I was going to fight back.
Napalm them all. No. Boise's an anomaly, like the British monarchy.
Okay. So we're okay. I'm tracking now. I was going to say,
I'm just saying that, the things that I've heard that concern me in Ada School District, where I used to work at Centennial High, and my children go to school there, and I have a lot of friends there. I hear about bad things going on there, and I tell those individuals, email the superintendent, your school board, go to the police, then go to the district, superintendent, school board, and things get handled like they're supposed to be because I follow those individuals and their cases and I support them through that. And I'm like, oh, that's what that looks like. That's what what? I didn't even know that piece of paper existed because that wasn't filed over here.
It's probably so frustrating for you to, now that you're this beacon of light, you're this hope of all these people that are dealing with the school districts here in Idaho, to be able to see actual West Ada School District doing the right thing.
Yes.
That's got to be so like, okay, this is how it's supposed to happen. Then you shift fire to Boise School District, and then you just realize the corruption, and it's so blatantly obvious at this point that they're doing everything wrong on purpose.
Everything. Every single thing that Dan Skinner ever did.
That dude, I mean, he's a very talked about person between you and Boulton on this show.
Chung.
That dude is I'm sorry, Chung. I look at you as an Asian and a white
We're like
girl.
sisters.
And you both
We're all related.
But we talk about this guy like what a huge piece of shit he is and was at that time. The way defending pedophiles and harassing the teachers that are standing up for the rights and to protect children, and everything he did to make everybody ran people out of the school district. Good teachers ran good school teachers out, and it was almost you. I think it was you. Have a list of all these teachers that he's directly tied to.
12 teachers.
Make that make sense.
He shares the same alma mater as many of the ones on my perpetrator list.
There it is.
Yes. Same alma mater within Boise. A lot of them graduated from Boise High, and then they went to BSU together, and or they went to U of I together, or they went to whatever university together. So these are homies. These are bros. The gentleman that if you can call him that, reported in 2021, nothing happened when I reported that on Tuesday, December 7th.
What did you report?
The inappropriate behavior by that softball coach.
Softball coach. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And my principal did nothing with it. My principal and vice principal at the time were mad at me because I didn't go to them. I went to the athletic director because I thought and heard that the gentleman I was reporting was only a coach, like he wasn't a teacher. So I was like, okay, I'll go to the athletic director, who did the right thing. He went to the principal, and then the principal called me down. Never was the police ever called. Still to this very day, I'm the only one that called the police. 7 months later, I broke the law technically, but I didn't because I reported to my building administrator. But in my conscience, as a mother, I waited 7 months to do something to help that little girl who still ended up playing softball. That whole team played softball that year in the spring, and he was still the coach. And then he wasn't the coach anymore the next school year, but he got a promotion. Back at the school junior high school that he teaches at, that feeds into Timberline, athletic director, I believe, is what he does. Today, he's there today, working today right now while you guys are watching this, while I'm filming this. He's the athletic director for the last 3 years at that junior high school, teaches there. Of course, at that junior high school is also the wife of a really bad guy who's a pedophile named Bob Clark. And he and Dan Skinner are bestie Westies from back in the day, and Bob Clark's wife is affiliated to the same school that my guy, softball coach, It's crazy. It's the murder board. There's so much yarn in my whiteboard in my mind where this person knows this person's married to this person, and it's crazy.
We need to turn that wall
into my murder board.
Into a murder board.
Like on CSI, okay? I'm not saying I'm murdering anybody because I've gotten in trouble for that as well. The words that I say are always used against me.
Always. That's the best part. You say something like murder board where we're just going to pin things out, but these pedophiles and pieces of shit human beings that are protecting horrible people about kids, she used this word and that's threatening. But here you are, knowing that people have used, abused, looked at, touched, fondled, whatever it was, children inside of the Boise School District. Hey, bro, we got you. Oh, Mrs. Boulton.
Yeah.
She's a tyrant. She said she's going to murder people. Yeah. Isn't it hilarious?
It is quite hilarious. And they try to scare me. I have 2 other lawsuits out against the Boise School District. One is for my First Amendment rights because I attended a meeting for Gavin Snow's victims in the Valley View community in February of 2025, when I pushed them to have that meeting, because they didn't have a meeting like that for the Fairmont crowd when Scott Crandall happened. So I pushed that meeting to happen. I showed up at the meeting, did nothing, said nothing, had some other allies there that handed out my business cards to people. I let the news know, so the news was there, which is extraordinary. They didn't like that. And I stood there, professional, and I stared down Lisa Roberts, and I got in trouble for that. And I helped, I am people's emotional support educator. That's my job title. I'm also a volunteer educational lobbyist. And I helped this mom grieve the loss of her childhood.
Innocence.
Yeah, and that was misquoted. This poor lady was, of course, upset and wanted accountability to Boise School District. Went back and said, "This is horrible. How could you, do this to my kid?" And then mentioned that she had spoken to me. She did all the right things. It was not her fault I got in trouble in the least. But she said what I said to her, and which I used the words kill and I used the words burn. Because anybody who hurts kids, I will kill you kindly, with love and communication and awareness. And I don't need to burn you. You're going to hell. So that's, the devil will take care of that for you. So that was held against me, and I have a restraining order out against me until 2027. And
Through the Boise School District?
Through Boise School District. It's a notice of trespass. I'm not allowed on any Boise School
Good for
District
you.
property
Good
whatsoever. But it's tricky because I have a lot of Boise School District clients that I help, and I can't attend meetings with them. I can't go into any building to be there to support them. But it's also a blessing in disguise because I can, through osmosis, give people my strength. And they can walk in with the belief that I believe they can do it. And I say, you can do it. This is, what do you want to say? I want to say this. I want to say this. Oh, but it's too scary. Say it. Pretend you're me. Just go in there and do it. And then you'll come out and you'll throw up and just like I do.
That's the problem is people are just too scared. They're worried about hurting other people, offending everything. Oh, what if somebody, it upsets them? Nope.
Then talk through it.
But yeah,
Fear is such a debilitating emotion. And I'm not saying I don't have fear, but I'm going to fear the things that I can impact. And the rest, I'm just going to pray that I don't die.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I'm a trained firearm specialist, so I carry a gun everywhere I go.
Smart.
I have a black belt. I weigh 100 and barely 20 pounds. I can't take down a guy your size, but I mean, I could trip you and then shoot you, but if somebody...
Valid.
That's all I know how to do.
Okay, so you say that, it's kind of off topic a little bit, that it's so hilarious because when I teach my daughters self-defense, not on the martial arts side of things, just real world self-defense, there's no perfect draw and I'm going to get behind cut.
No.
You poke somebody in the eye, you kick them in the groin,
yep.
You trip, you bite, you scream, you fight for your life to
throw up on them, you spit on them, you pee on them.
Whatever you have to do.
Whatever you need to do, you do it.
So you're saying that comment. I laugh because that's real world. I'll just trip and shoot. That's not, I'm going to sit here and fist fight and I can know jiu-jitsu and I'm going to take them to the... No, none of that happens.
No.
It's what our famous saying, in the military. It's like, it's all fun and games till a bullet zips by your face. And then you start figuring shit out real quick. And it's like, okay, I'm in a firefight now. What do I have to do? Okay, I'm in a fist fight. I'm going to sit here and break the wrist, walk away. No, that when you have
I'm going to booby trap you.
Yeah.
And you're going to trip over a tiny wire you can't see. And I'm going to kill you with kindness. And I'm going to be 1,000% honest. Like, I work... I don't want to say work with. I have collaborated with. I have been an informant for the Boise Police Department. I am connected to the FBI. Let's just say I have a lot and they have great futures.
They've grown since leaving the school.
They've grown since then. And legitimately through a victim, a client, I met the FBI through another triangulated way. So the FBI has eyes on things, absolutely. Now, the federal government cannot be compelled to take a case unless it's like ironclad, right?
For sure.
And sometimes that takes time, and I'm going to fight for that time to be less because a child is being hurt every day. I work really closely with Senator Tammy Nichols and Commissioner Vicki Purdy. They found me in darkness. Over a year ago, we are celebrating our 1-year sisterversary. And they adopted me under their political wing. I knew nothing. I didn't even know. I thought they just wanted to be friends with me. And they wanted me to speak. They invited Commissioner Purdy, invited me to speak to the other commissioners of the different counties in Idaho last October, 3 days after I got conferred with my doctorate. So I was able to make my first presentation, and then eyes and ears opened. Some of them were younger, some of them were older, some of them were Republican, Democrats, Christians, non-Christians. I addressed it all. We were all kids once. Kids don't have R's and D's and I's and crosses and swastikas and excuse me, or anything. They don't have anything on them. They're just children. We need to protect them and stop fighting amongst ourselves, right? I meant to say Star of David. And I started talking out loud like I did on the news. I had been avoiding the news because of my notice of trespass. I was afraid for my family, actually, to be completely honest, because that's a real thing, right? I have so much surveillance on my tiny little house. It's silly.
For sure.
And then I prepared for this year's legislation, which I didn't even know what that even meant until January through April of this year. I lived willingly under the mentorship of Senator Tammy Nichols, and she taught me more than I ever learned in school about how a bill becomes a law. And I learned that it's really not that hard, you guys. Just be nice. Email the people that have like state rep or senator in front of their name. Idaho is a pretty cool state in that it's still kind of Wild West and oldish, in that you can go to the Capitol and sit in and learn things and be a part of things. And we are so divided and conquered by our own leaders in this country that we've lost that all we need to do is just hold hands with each other. Maybe we should just kumbaya, right? I went to the state Capitol more times than I can remember. I love the energy there. I'm sure there's a lot of terrible things that have happened there as well. I looked at all the pictures where there was just one woman in the 1960s or the 30s, and all these dudes, and I'm like, wow, that must have been hard for her, right? Like, I have it better than that lady right now. I have somebody that both parties respect. Senator Nichols is very respected by her peers, male, female, Christian, non-Christian. She's very professional. She taught me how documents get written up, how they get drafted, who to involve. I suggested that we invited, West Ada, Dr. Derek Bubb to help us, and so we reached out to him. And he was very amiable to giving his input. So West Ada's, again, I'm going to reiterate, they've been doing a lot of the right things. I suggested to Senator Nichols that we invite the State Department of Education, Superintendent Debbie Critchfield, to the table, because I don't want Senator Nichols to think I know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm a math teacher and a mom. Okay?
That's been given a purpose. But I don't know what the tools are. I don't understand the law. I don't know how a bill becomes law. I don't even know about the three branches of the government. I like total deer in the headlights from when I was 8 to when I graduated college. I think that's everybody.
Right. So, but like add another layer of immigrancy on top of that, right?
Yeah.
So, and trauma and, I'm an Asian female. I'm going to be blunt, okay? My culture doesn't want me alive. I should have been in a trash can.
For sure.
Right?
For sure.
My feet should be half the size, bounded, cracked to size 3 children, and I should be wife number 7 popping out child number 37 for some dude that's 20 years older than me. 200 years ago, that'd be my life. So I am living the dream. I am not suffering. What I fear, Boise School District can't even match. I already conquered it. I feared my parents. I feared corporal punishment from my parents, right? Like, I was caned all the time by my parents because I was such a quote-unquote bad kid. I was told my whole life I wasn't even really wanted. Like, I'm a girl, you guys. I'm an Asian female. It's not cool to be Asian female unless you're a white guy, right?
I think about that one for a second. Like, oh yeah, I got some buddies that got the Asian fever. Okay, I get it. I get it.
My husband, he contracted yellow fever in Okinawa. Like, good on him. That worked out for me really well. What a Marine.
I gotta love him.
But, we do joke about the cultures, and we try to bring them together. And,
For sure.
I tell my husband, when you ordered me from the catalog, you forgot to check the box, submissive and quiet. Sweetie, next time you look for submissive and quiet, okay?
Yeah.
And short.
Yeah, you are tall. You are an Amazon for an Asian woman.
Asian, yeah.
Okay, so let's shift gears here a little bit. Get us spun up. From last time, everybody could go back through. It was 74. your last episode, we go into depth in a lot of these names. What, from the last time that we've talked, what the hell has been going on with all of these lawsuits, everything, even the more teachers have come out, like what's going on? This is where I want our audience to be spun up. But we're probably going to do this probably once a year with you for the existence of this podcast, just so the Boise School District, until they get their shit together, I'm going to put them on blast. So I guess we just keep rolling into it, but I want to, there's so much. I can't keep up. So let's hit the highlights of the new and the fresh of what's going on inside the Boise School District.
Well, I want to start off then by giving good news.
Okay, yes.
Right? Because there is hope, because I'm sitting here in front of you. And
Yes.
like 2 years ago, I wouldn't have been able to talk to anybody about this.
Yep.
So that's a good thing.
Yes.
Knowledge is power.
Absolutely.
But power is scary, and it's overwhelming because information is overwhelming. So to be the beacon of light, I have to tell everybody everything is going to be fine if we just keep moving forward, educate ourselves, and keep standing up. That doesn't mean that people are going to stop knocking me and others down. More people will probably try to hurt us even more because there's more people coming forward. And when more victims and more lawsuits come forward, that feels disastrous. It does. I understand that. And it feels very much like, Chicken Little, right? The sky is falling. The sky is falling. Let the sky fall because the true sky is above that.
Yep.
Right? These victims were victimized, past tense, already. So it's a good thing this is coming up now.
Yes.
Whew. As opposed to the decades where it wasn't, when everybody was like, everything's great here. Property prices, Boise's like number one to move to. That was when everybody was delusional. Now everybody is in the know. So try and you know what I mean? Like be your own psychotherapist and say, oh, I don't feel fear. I feel stupid. I feel stupid that I was duped. Let me get over that fear with vengeance
100%.
and justice and retribution to fix it, because it's getting fixed slowly. I need more than just my voice, though, right? I need your voice. I need Miss Chung's voice. I need Marianne Baker's voice.
Yep.
They tried to send her to jail for what Gavin Snow did, even though she's the one person that ever reported him. And they tried to charge her with failure to report, ? What? How about her principal, who probably knew about it, failure to report? How about him? He's the principal at Valley View. He was transferred to Fairmont Junior High School as a vice principal this year, and he's also on my retirement group list. How about the principal at Cynthia Mann Elementary, who's also retiring this year, with the secretary, who's the mom of Gavin Snow? They're retiring.
His mom is even involved in the school?
She got him the job there.
Oh, my God.
When
The
he
piece is
graduated,
just-
when he graduated from Capital at age 18, probably affiliated with Scott Crandall, just throwing that out there. That's where Scott Crandall was also the counselor. People always forget about that. They hear Fairmont, Fairmont, Fairmont. He was 50% time with the high schoolers as well at Capital High and at Fairmont. I have victims that were his students, Scott Crandall's victims, at Capital High. So this teacher, Marianne Baker, her feet were held to the fire. They tried to send her to jail. So they do the same delay, deny, discredit, distract playbook, because inept leadership doesn't ever play the offense. They only play the defense, right? Because there is no leading head in the Hydra, right?
Okay.
So when a bad decision is made by, say, a lawyer, and he doesn't cross paths with the superintendent to get permission for this, because they're all piranhas, right? They all see themselves as shark equals, but they're not. Then somebody else has to cover something else up, right? And they tried to send her to jail. So what they did to Ms. Chung, pretty egregious. What they did to me, pretty egregious, but it all follows a pattern of behavior. Unfortunately, with Marianne Baker, they got to the point where they tried to hide her from me. I knew when Gavin Snow killed himself, I was like, there's a teacher, and I need to find her. Somebody reported him, or he wouldn't have killed himself.
And you found her.
The universe brought us together through good friends and family that are connected. That is how I've met all the people in my life. Because I think Voldemort doesn't understand that Harry Potter has friends. So silly. So Marianne Baker, they literally tried to send her to jail. Her whole entire life has been decimated. She was obviously like all charges were dropped with prejudice or with, I don't know, whatever. It's like, yes, she's for sure innocent. Don't you dare come after her again. With or without prejudice. I don't know that phrase, but it's the one that's good for her. But they tried to send her to jail. What? She's the only person that spoke up in 2 schools. She didn't. No. Pedophiles are not like creepy people that like jump out of the bushes, okay? They're like probably really nice, good-looking people that masturbate in the wrong places to the wrong things.
Why'd you point at me when you said that shit?
Well, you brought up Kyle Dennis in the parking lot.
Pointing at me.
That was hilarious. Not you. Not Bam. Kyle Dennis.
You know, guys
Kyle
that look just like you. But you're
Nothing.
right. We teach our youngest grooming. Hey, it's not the guy in a van.
It's not.
It's the friend next door's dad. It's when you're having a sleepover. That's what
Correct.
sleepovers are so scary. 100%.
Yeah,
It's
yes.
the teacher. Oh, hey, man, everybody loves that guy.
It's your uncle. It's the pastor. It's the bus driver or the bus driver's wife. There's 2 pairs of bus drivers on my list from the bus company that shuttles kids. Only in Boise School District, though. Why aren't there any pedophile bus drivers in West Ada School District? I'm so confused.
Do they do background checks?
I don't know how the bus companies are run, to be completely honest.
Oh, yeah, that's separate. Okay. Yeah, that's probably separate.
But they're separate, but they're equal and they're together. Do you know what I'm saying? There's contracts, right? You can write contracts to be like, no pedophiles, or you can't work for us, right? It's pretty easy. It's pretty easy.
The fact that it's just has to be
It's a thing.
thought about.
I know. The fact that kids know it so prevalently now on the internet, little kids, my children and younger in elementary school, because you can't type pedophile in certain things, I guess. I don't do social media, so I don't totally understand what I'm talking about. But like certain words, like you can't, like SA stands for something because you can't write that anymore.
Yep.
Well, you can't write pedophile, you write PDF file.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, how do you know about this? You're 9. The fact that they know about these things is scary and good and bad. Like I teach my children everything. So they knew everything when they started kindergarten. I don't want to have to, but I have to, right?
No, I don't want to sit down with my 6-year-old and talk about what a pedophile is, or
Right. Or consent or any of those things, but
good
now we
touch,
have
bad
to.
touch. But
Correct.
but the parents that live in that old school boomer logic, you have a 11-year-old little daughter that has no idea what good touch, bad touch, because they're not teaching it in school
Because they're
anymore.
not teaching it in school. And those become easy bait, right?
Oh, for sure.
Which is sad.
And usually the parents that aren't teaching that probably aren't very connected with their children, and the public school system's a daycare for them, so that kid's on their own.
Correct.
And
Well,
that's where
and then
we depend on great teachers like yourself that just care and are here to protect these kids. That's how I look at it as an outsider of good teachers, and why we need to get rid of these dinosaurs inside the public school system, because of how, like I just said, how my mind processes public schools. I take out the education side. I think our public education system is the most dog shit thing that we can ever do for our society is in our children. But the public school itself is so important.
it's a good place. We just need to change how it's being handled. Right.
Much better because of what kind of stated it earlier with these kids just being able to escape or get a meal or have somebody to connect with. That's why it's so important.
Well, you're going out into the world as a kid like a grown-up goes into the world for their job usually, right? So now when we say the dinosaurs in the classroom or whatnot,
there's old teachers.
Oh, for sure. And that is like veteran knowledge. And that's another thing that this culture has forgotten is a reverence for their elders, right?
Yep.
But those teachers, if their heart's still in the game, you go, girl, because there's plenty of really young teachers that they'd have no classroom management skills and they don't know how to teach because they don't have children or they're young or, and their spirit will be broken because our system is broken. Mm-hmm. And so they have the potential to grow, but they can't because they'll be fighting for their lives the minute they get into that classroom because they're fighting against their boss, the district, kids that aren't being raised well, and parents that they don't know how to connect with because it's all divide and conquer. The way that I have been able to survive is because I was already given the tool belt of my Asian culture that teaches me that if you are older than me, you are my auntie or my uncle. Yep. If you are near my age, you are my brother or my sister. And then everybody's a cousin or everybody's a nephew. And I didn't even understand the bloodline thing at all because my family,
everybody's related.
Everybody's related.
Yeah.
So I just did that in my classroom because before Idaho, I worked in California, Nevada, Nebraska, Arizona, Texas, and here. And I worked with every color of skin, mostly Title I, lower socioeconomic class. I mostly not had white students before I got to Idaho. Lots of diversity. And that just always worked for me. So then I came here, and it was the first time I had a classroom of homogeneous American faces. And I was like, well, this is all I know, so I guess we'll just go for it. I mean, I've been here for 40 years, so I'm an American, but I'm just going to do this like Eastern style. And it worked for me. These kids just want to be loved. They want, it's okay to have more parents that love you. It's okay to have aunties and uncles. Why can't I be that person, right? That's the mental mind frame. That's the mindset I'm trying to instill in American public education. So if you're going to go and become a teacher, be ready to become the family member to a lot of families.
For sure.
And don't think of that as a burden, because those families will absorb you, and then you will have that tether to so much bigger of a network, and it will be a village, not just, it takes a village to whatever on the poster. No, you're doing it. I don't even know how many people on my phone, but because I don't do social media, but half of them are parents of former students or former students themselves. I keep in touch with so many of my students' parents, the dad, the mom, the stepmom, the grandma, the grandpa. I've been to, and then maybe I'll have their younger sibling, maybe I won't, depends on the state. I mean, in Texas, in California, and in all my previous states, students came up for my wedding here in Idaho.
That speaks volumes of who you were as a teacher.
And that's who we're all teachers. Parents are teachers. Anytime you're interacting with another person, you're teaching them about yourself, your profession, your whatever. A business owner is a teacher because you have to teach your business, you have to sell your product, you have to teach your employees. It's the Plato, Socrates, like back in the day thinking, I'm trying to get back to the basics, right? All the layers of politics and labels, none of that matters. These are kids. Parent them, love them like they are your own. And if you are broken and you were molested, let's fix you. And then we can have this conversation.
Because until then, you're always going to be broken.
Right. I was molested at age 3 to age 5 by a close individual in my family. And then I was raped in college. And I survived all of that.
Yeah,
and
so
I
sorry to hear
can
that.
talk about it. I am a statistic, but I can also be a beacon for others.
Absolutely.
Right? Like, I survived it. We can survive these things. You guys, it's okay.
Do you look back on it now and think that those times happened because to prepare you for today to fight for these children, to instill so much passion and love and willing to sacrifice everything because of what happened to you as a child?
Absolutely. My parents and we have a very unique relationship separately. My parents are divorced. But that the harshness of the Asian culture, because there's not a lot of I love yous, there's not a lot of hugs and kisses, there's not a lot of good jobs, there's not a lot of pleasantries. And there are a lot of Asian families that don't fit that mold, obviously. But this is definitely like old school, like 1960s, 70s, Malaysia, British occupation, Japanese occupation, rough. And I have always been this anomaly in my family. I've always been this personality in my family. Like, if I was born a dude, all day long, I would have been the princeling, right? But because I was born a woman, I had so much more adversity. And because I survived that adversity and I can understand it now, like, I was raised a Buddhist for the most part, I would say. I guess I am, but I'm like just a whatever. But the person that you're interacting with right now just happens to look like this. Mm-hmm. You close your eyes and you listen to me, that's who I am.
Yeah.
How I make you feel is who I am. Not what you see, that's not who I am.
But unfortunately, most people judge what they see before what they know.
Correct. And the two play an ingredient together, obviously, the nature, the nurture. But we have given up so much to nature, like, oh, that kid, comes from a bad home, he's an alcoholic because his parents were an alcoholic. Oh, that kid is obese because his family is obese. It's genetic. We can't do anything about it. I'm like, yes, you can. You can make a choice. No, it's not going to be easier, but stop complaining. Like, oh, he has ADHD, that's why he acts up. I'm like, well, so did I, and I just got smacked around more. until I learned to not, which is also terrible. Don't do that.
That's, yeah.
Right? There can be conversations. But we're not having healthy conversations with our children, with each other, about religion, politics, whatever, because we're taking the words that Mount Olympus rains down on us, right? I can't see the ivory tower. I can't see Mount Olympus. They're so far up there, and all I know is that they have so many more zeros in their checking account than I do. And that's what separates us, the good versus the evil, is how much. I mean, there are evil poor people, duh. And there are amazingly rich people that are wonderful and giving and awesome and amazing, but there's not enough of them.
But they're not using their money for power.
Right.
Like the evil. And that's
correct.
The good always sits and watches, and this is what's going on in this country as a whole right now.
Correct.
Is everybody's sitting and, I don't want to, I'm too worried about this. I don't want to ruffle anything. That's that's the good people right now. But then the evil, they have power and they have money, and there's an agenda in it. And then, especially with children, it always comes back to the children.
Yes.
Everything. That's where these people.
The wars come back to the children.
Every time. Our innocence. And this is where this is why I don't have friends anymore. It's hard to talk to people that are just like, oh man, the fucking left. You see all these liberals and crazy. And I'm like, dude, there's no left. There's no right. It's all controlled by the same people. It's good versus evil. And they're all after the children.
Right.
How do we not see this? Like, you have to be so ignorant or just blind to what is going on out there. You can't pull the I'm just not educated. We're living the era of knowledge and power right now. You can Google, you can chat GPT, you can search anything and everything at the tip of your finger, and these people still can't grasp the fact that they're after our children. Everything relates to the children.
Right. Well, because how do you truly conquer an opponent? You get rid of their lineage, right?
There's no legacy to pass on if you're destroying it.
Correct. And those in power see the long game. Yeah. But those of us that are not in power, that are not educated properly, being controlled by the powerful, want to keep us ignorant so that we're just running around thinking the sky is falling, and not being like, oh, wow, that's really pretty. Let it all fall down. That looks way better.
Burn it.
Burn it all down.
Let it all fall. Let it collapse.
Right. And all it takes is one powerful person to overtake an entire country. You know what I'm saying? Like, Hitler's regime, it's a real thing, you guys. Like, look it up. So, my focus will always be, the kids. And when I figured out that Boise School District was breaking the law, and just like that tiny link, that like, okay, go to the police, go to CPS, then go to the organization, whatever that organization is. If it happened to have been at a Walmart, a YMCA in the middle of the street, then you go figure out who the third person. But you always call 911. I came to America in 1983 and I learned about 911. Okay, but then I became a teacher and I got badly programmed by Boise School District and I forgot about 911 and I went to my building administrator like they taught me to, and they teach all of us to, and we trust the chain of command because sometimes it works, but most of the time in a system like this, it doesn't.
Okay, so as a 20 plus year teacher, taught in every single topic there is in school. You finished your career. Well, the Boise School District finished your career for you.
I'm early retired.
Early retired now. Congratulations. What as a parent inside the Boise School District, what should they know?
They need to know that when their child comes to them with a concern, they need to put down their phone, make time for them, take some time off work, take your kid for an ice cream, and listen to them. Document it, write it down. If there's a date, a name, a place, an administrator, whatever, witnesses, whatever friend was there that saw whatever happened to you. When your kids are talking to you, please listen. Make time for them. Kids are split between multi-households. I came from a divorced home. I am not judging. Okay, it is hard to keep a family together and raise children. I get it. And if you have 4 parents, 2 bio parents and 2 step parents that are like amazing, sweet, there's your village. You got 4 people to go to. Make it about the kids. We've lost our way. We're very me, and then we become adults. We're raising little tiny me's that grow up to be adult me's that want to procreate but don't know how to be not me, and then you want them to put a baby first all of a sudden, and then they feed it to a school system that's broken. I mean, I can give you a litany of like why this is happening. That's that's my doctorate, is why this is happening. How do we fix it? It is so interlaced. And it does. It starts with money. It starts with a bullet in my forehead, probably, because I'm going to name some names. And it starts with speaking out and connecting one at a time, right? And the universe has blessed me with politicians, with law enforcement, the FBI, the media has done a great job, but I've also been slapped with the notice of trespass. I've also been blacklisted in West Ada, so I can't go back to work for them. That's my second lawsuit, because potentially I believe that Dan Skinner might have sent something to West Ada that made me look bad that he should not have. So now I have to go through, the spin the cycle with West Ada to clear my name. And that's going great. I'm going to apply to become a substitute there next year, because all I want to do is teach math. Like, I want to be a teacher. I don't want to be a vigilante. I
feel like it's too late for you now.
I know, but I just want every other day. Let me just go to a classroom and teach some math.
You need a break, is what you're doing. You need to go back to reality of the real. I get it. I want
to be with the kids I'm trying to help. If I can help you,
is that more important than what you're doing? Who else?
I want to do both.
Are you able to? You have the bandwidth for that?
We'll see next school year.
Okay.
When West Ada hires me as a substitute teacher.
Okay.
Because they made the mistake of not hiring me as a substitute teacher, and they sent me a letter on November 11th, 2024. I don't blame them, though, because misinformation is real.
Okay.
And lies are real. I can't blame a school district for one needle in the haystack falling
knowing everything that the Boise School District has done. That's a very mature thing, because I feel most people would have the knee-jerk reaction, be like, "Oh, West Ada's the same. They're in cahoots with Boise School District," but who you are and all the information, taking a step back, this is probably reality.
Right.
They've just been the typical Skinner move is to just destroy the fame, everything of who you are. Okay, they probably have no idea what you were actually doing.
Correct.
So let me ask you this.
The answer is always way more complicated than what people think,
especially
right?
in the world you're in.
Correct.
There's no straight answer for any of it.
Maybe there are parts of West Ada that are ineffective. Well, I'm going to bring that to the attention of the superintendent and then pray. I hear he's a pretty sound individual and he makes good decisions, and I have a lot of people that have told me he has good integrity. I have only positive interactions with him in person and through email. So I have to trust the other beacons of light until proven otherwise, I guess, right? If not, I would be no better than the darkness, walking around all paranoid, not trusting people, right? All I can do is be honest and vulnerable and pray somebody doesn't shoot me in the head. That's all I can do. Yeah. So when I found out about, those laws, that's when I went for it. I told the news, and people printed about that, and everybody realized then, like, that's as simple as that. They're literally breaking the law. So after Boise School District gave me my $400,000 settlement, in the same breath, Dan Skinner invited me to come back and work on a executive level committee, the Healthy Relationships Committee, to rewrite teacher policy. And I got all their master copies of all their teacher protocols, procedures, handbooks, and whatever. And I just
did it. Up doing that. That was a huge L on his part.
He did that. He wasn't even allowed to attend with me because he sexually harassed me and was continued to bullying me after settlement before the start of the committee. And I was like, I can't be in the same room with this gentleman. Please remove him from we don't need a lawyer on a teacher committee. So he invited me because I think he is looking for reasons to stay connected to me, which is gross. So I was on that committee, and I got master copies of everything, PDF file, and I just did a simple find, Control F, and I just typed in law enforcement. I typed in police. Not a single time did it show up in any document. And I was like, oh, cha-ching, gotcha. And then I served my time September to December 2024, which was a few months after my settlement, and then Gavin Snow killed himself in January. And I was like, that's so awesome. I have all this awesome information now that I can use. And then Senator Tammy Nichols came into my life, Commissioner Vicki Purdy, and I learned that we need to highlight this law, Code 16-1605, that's been around since 1970, so it's been around for a really long time. And but a lot of amendments have been made to it, like maybe it didn't say 24 hours. That was added in the 80s and 90s. Maybe it didn't say CPS because that wasn't a thing yet, but it always said law enforcement.
This is huge. This is huge that now there's no excuse.
There is no excuse. And up until literally this semester of this school year, 2026, Boise School District still continues to send email out to its community members, its parents, its students, its staff, saying, if something happens, tell us, file a Title IX grievance, here's the link, and then below that, not in bold, not like it's important, not like it's the first thing, finally, I was able to force him to say, oh yeah, by the way, when you report to us, we'll also report to law enforcement. And I'm like, that's
not even telling them to.
That is correct.
That's.
So they, like, sometimes they do, sometimes they don't, you know? But I have copies of all the Title IX emails that get spammed to the community up until all through 2025. And I screenshot, I send it. So I send an email periodically to all my media friends. You're on that list. ABC, CBS, the Idaho Press, KBOI Radio, Nate Shellman, all the politicians that unanimously passed Senator Nichols' amendment that I was able to help with. The House floor and the Senate floor unanimously, within 3 to 5 seconds, all voted yes to change and amend this law, just to highlight it and bring it back into the public eye and say, hey, by the way, it is now against the law. Because before it said, if you know something's going to happen, you shall do this, you shall do this, you shall do that. So it seemed more like a multiple choice test or like a pick your
options.
own adventure. Right.
Yeah.
It didn't say you must do this first, and then you must call CPS.
See, that's
and
outdated.
Then, yeah, and the words, right? The ors, the ands, right? I'm not a lawyer, so I don't.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
You use the wrong word. So Senator Nichols, with the help of Superintendent Debbie Critchfield and other of her cohorts, because she's also on the education committee, Senator Tammy Nichols on the education committee. So I know she worked a lot with the education chair, Senator Lent, on these sorts of amendments that I mean, to me, it's English. I'm a math teacher. Like, all those words scare me, right? But if I see 24 hours and I say it says mandatory, then I'm like, okay, we're good, right? Because they ask me, like, what is the problem? I'm like, that's the problem. They're like, really? It's just that? Just that? I'm like, yeah, it's just that.
Well, it's crazy what one word can switch every mandatory.
Within 24 hours, you must, it says must, it doesn't say shall. Must report within 24 hours to law enforcement. And Boise School District, even though I brought that to light last year,
they're still not full on board.
They wouldn't because, well, I mean, think about it, right? What happens when you're on the defensive and you finally wave a white flag? You're admitting wrongdoing.
Guilt.
Right. And they can't do that. They can't do that because little old aunt on the hill, Dr. Laura Boulton, forced them to.
You can't get the establishment to admit guilt.
Right. But I can push them and I can say there's no plausible deniability and I can create piles of documentation for future lawsuits to use my newsletters as Exhibit A, Exhibit B, Exhibit C, dating that Boise School District did nothing in 2025 when the crimes happened.
Why? Here's my biggest question about the Boise School District. Why don't they just correct the problems?
Because the they is the problem, and you can't have the entire
Okay,
monarchy exit Kensington Palace, right?
You take Chung's her story. Just fix the mouse infestation.
But that's an admittance of wrong because what Ms. Chung found was a straw, right? But the whole thing is unraveled, right? Like, I found one pedophile.
Yeah, one little thread.
I thought it was just one pedophile. Oh, it's decades of pedophile. So if you fix it now, you're admitting to wrongdoing for decades.
Do it.
Right?
Do it. Start fresh. This is what's terrifying to these parents that listen to these episodes and they're just like, well, later, Timmy, we'll see you later. I'll come pick you up. That have children in the Boise School District. The fact that the Boise School District is still not telling parents to go, hey, something happens, police us. Mm-hmm. Bring it together. We need to know. My job as a Boise School District official, teacher, counselor, principal, whatever the position is to protect these children. Your kid goes home and tells you a teacher, another student, whatever happened on our campus, call the police, get your asses straight in here. We need to handle this now.
They've never done that, so they don't know how to do that.
Bro,
they're like flat earthers.
I'm a flat earther, so easy on this, okay? Because, yeah. So it just doesn't make sense to me that we cannot get the Boise School District to have the police be involved in this stuff. Why are they trying to hide it?
Because all of them have hands in the pot. All their hands are dirty.
It's the only thing that makes sense.
It's the only thing. And who would do that, right? Like, who would be the person at the top of the hill? Because that person is not going to reach the top of the hill, survive just to take it down.
Yeah, no.
You only reach the top because you play the game,
shit.
right? You drink the Kool-Aid, you play the game, you get to the top. Mm-hmm. So there's so much like passing the trash that's happening currently, especially with over 24 people retiring. Lisa Roberts is retiring. Her husband, Jeff Roberts, is retiring. The guy from Bora is retiring. The principal that was Gavin Snow's principal is retiring. The principal that hired Gavin Snow is retiring. Like, what the heck, you guys? This is not suspicious to anybody.
Do you think the Boise School District is more keen on protecting the establishment over the children?
Absolutely. And it's not like they're protecting something that they're like, oh, this house, it's historical. Please don't knock it down. I have such great memories. No, it's like, oh, this is our facade of power. And if you take down the facade, I can't hide behind it and I have no more power. So it's not like a loyalty to the
That's what's so
establishment.
confusing. It almost comes across to me, this is how I look at the Boise School District establishment, is that they're so dumb in the fact that they've gotten away with it for so long and it's become norm for them. That's just life for being these ratchet, vile human beings, that now that the light is being shined on them, they're just... Their only option, because they're so fucking stupid, is to double down. Nope, deny. We're gonna
delay, deny, discredit, distract.
That's the only play that they've had for the last century of this existence of the Boise School District. It's the only thing that I could register in my mind and be like, okay, if let's just say I made my way up to the hierarchy of the Boise School District and I got up there and let's say I got my kickbacks and I got promoted, I'm making more money, because I know it doesn't just start out as evil. Nobody goes in there and be like, all right, boys, I got
if they're legacies,
100%. But I don't see these guys going in there, men and women going in there going, okay, I'm here to protect. I want the money and the power right out the gate. Obviously, it evolves. It's human nature. We're going to evolve. Hey, we're going to promote you. Hey, good job on this. Hey, thanks for looking out for this. Because of that, we're going to hook you up with this position.
Well, they get groomed too.
Absolutely. Is it going to take the one person that finally gets there and goes, oh, and then maybe this is happening now. Maybe why all these people are resigning and retiring from the Boise School District. They're just like, this is too much. We can't. Our tactics that have made it through the boomer generation and fooling those people isn't working for these millennial parents. They know how to Google. Mm-hmm. They know how to free think. We need to change things up. Maybe we should get our acts together, but that's not, it's the
I don't think these people are retiring for their integrity. No, I don't think it's a crisis of conscience or existential crisis.
Oh, yeah.
I think they're running for the hills because the FBI is coming for them.
Better to get out now. As a teacher inside the Boise School District, I got fired by the Boise School District. What's one of the most disturbing things that you witnessed during that time?
Gross negligence.
How?
People not having the empathy to understand why children hurt, and when they do hurt and children are brave enough to ask us for help and we're not understanding of them, whether it's, little Susie comes to class and she has a bruise on her face and we pretend we don't see that, or little Johnny coming to school with the same clothes on for 5 days in a row, or a girl telling you about a party that she was at and you just don't want to listen because you don't want to get involved and because you might hear things that are illegal that they're doing at this party or whatnot. I hear a lot of chatter from teachers in the Boise School District that would prefer just not to have to deal with the drama of that, are the words, phrases that come out, and they just want to focus on teaching. I'm like, well, we're beyond that now. And you need to, deal with the lowest level of safety so that those kids will want to be there to learn, because your math won't matter if they don't feel safe. Your
Absolutely.
English lesson won't matter. So the gross negligence of hearts that have lost their way because, as adults, we're so trauma fatigued from the world around us that, we might not even have time for the news, much less a reputable news, right? And what is fake news, what isn't fake news, I don't know. I know when I came to this country, it was more or less cut and dry. Maybe it was propaganda. I don't know either. But there was like 3 stations, and you watched the news at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock. And there was more journalistic integrity, whereby if a journalist did something wrong or whatever, they'd pretty much get fired. Now everybody can put out that information, which is good, but the yin and the yang to that is now we're information drowning, and we don't know what is true and what is false. And do we or do we not take the time to investigate it ourselves, or are we just looking for the next Kardashian reality show, right?
We're looking for the next TikTok reel to educate us.
Correct. And we've all nurtured our brain to have ADHD, because when you decrease the character size of something, when you decrease the length of something somebody has to pay attention to, then you make their brain work less. And then you have AI, and then you have things that could be good tools if we knew how to yin-yang the existence of them and balance that out. But anytime you make life easier for people, they will become stupid and lazy and fat, not think for themselves, and not question. And then if somebody comes along that even poses the question, it gets either really ugly and contentious because of ignorance, or they don't even hear you. And you're like, who are you talking to? How do you get through those individuals, right? And by then it's too late, because they're probably adults and their brains have hardened, which is why we keep forgetting about the children, right? The divide and conquer, if I was an evil person with an evil radar screen, all these things that are happening are part of a really awesome diabolical master plan. Every single data point is on purpose.
For sure.
Absolutely, it is. Nothing is by accident. If you have enough money, you can make anything happen.
100%.
You can buy anybody, usually. So it's just the negligence, our loss of humanity, if you will. That's what I think is really sad. And that's not the culture I came from. Now, the culture I came from has changed a lot since I've left my country and my culture, right? So the culture that I am now is an amalgamation of Western culture and Eastern culture, just trying to make the best, right? Like literally trying to make America great again. Let's do it together the right way with civil discourse, like my blood is red, your blood is red. Last time I checked, nobody's blood is green, even if there were. Let's look into that. Like maybe they can travel at light speed. That'd be kind of cool. But we're all the same human, right? But the roots are in, there's racism, there's colonization, there's money, there's power. There are things that go back hundreds and hundreds of years, and we can't change that. And I don't know how fast we can make
Rewind
the pendulum, swing back. It's tricky, but I'm just a 60-watt light bulb. I'm just going to keep shining. If somebody wants to try to destroy a 60-watt light bulb,
that's all you can do.
It's never going to happen. I'll find another 60-watt light bulb, and we'll shine a little brighter. But yeah, it's really sad. The public school system in this country has gone the wrong way. And there are other countries in way worse situations than us. Obviously, there's war.
Let me ask you this with that statement. Everything that you've experienced in the public system, school system, do you still have hope in it?
Absolutely.
Okay, why?
Because there's children.
Okay.
Why? How? That's like saying, I wish somebody would nuke us, right? Like, there are children who have no choice but to exist. There are children that are wanted. My children were wanted. I planned for them. I looked on a calendar. I took my basal temperature. They were intentional, right? But most of us, I dare say, flip of a coin, 50% of the humans on this earth that have ever been in existence from the beginning of time, if you believe in Adam and Eve, or even if you don't, whatever, the apes, whatever, were not planned. They were just oopsies, right? Well, those 50%, maybe half of those, 25%, they're like, we weren't planning to have a baby right now, but we'll make it work. And they turn out to be amazing parents. But the other 25%, unwanted, unloved, unplanned, those become parents. Those become humans. whether they're poor or they're rich or they're Christian or they're not, or they're Democrat, Republican. We have to find a way to help those individuals heal. And that might not happen. We have prisons. That's unfortunate. We should have more schools. We should have more schools than we have prisons. I'm just saying we should spend more money on preventative medicine and diet than we do on prescription drugs. We should spend more money building schools as opposed to subcontracting out prisons to companies that the government has no more leash on, right? Like everything is bass-ackwards right now. And that's on purpose as well. Somebody planned for that to happen. That's somebody's chessboard, not my chessboard.
Would you look at the 3,000-foot snapshot down on some of these establishments, prison, public school, government? That's the only thing that it has to be done intentionally for it to be going the way that it is. That it's so corrupt. There's so many things going on that are just don't make sense to. Like, why are we feeding our kids such poor food inside these school systems?
So that we can medicate them later and make more money.
Exactly. You make them sick from the beginning, then they own you. You said something earlier about how when you got to a certain class or school, you noticed the kids were just depressed and they're talking suicide, they're cutting, they're all. Have you noticed that? I mean, obviously it's been a couple of years since you've worked in the teachers, but did you start to see an evolution of this stuff start to incline at a certain point?
Oh, absolutely.
Do you know the pivot point of that?
Well,
or the turning point, I should say?
Two answers to that question. The first one involves Centennial High School, where I worked when I moved to Idaho. There was a lot more individuals that had like ADHD and other sorts of things, ailments, asthma, biological type things that they took medication for. The suicide rate was more than I was used to. I was used to working with like really poor African Americans and Latino American students, and there was no suicide. Lots of drugs, lots of gang things, but not a lot of we kill ourselves. Killing other people, yes, not the killing ourselves.
That's a white people thing, huh?
Not the anxiety, not the whatever, not the internal problems, only the external problems, right?
Okay.
So I came to a pretty affluent area, and I started having, interactions with these students that were such beautiful lights, but so sad on the outside. And then I learned that it's the me. It's the fact that sometimes the richer you are, the less time you spend with your kids. Or sometimes there's a layer of religion that I can't speak to because I'm not a Christian and I don't want to disrespect anybody, but some things limit our thinking and our way and our culture, right? For better or for worse.
For sure.
I dare say that most religions of all types, Muslim, whatever, even Buddhism, are all male-centered religions, right? So there's a lot of really interesting dynamics there. And when I was at Centennial, when I started filing my first mandatory reports there that were handled properly. There was a lot of homeless type situations. There were a lot of families kicking their children out of the house because they came forward and said, I am gay or I'm part of the LGBTQ community or whatnot. And there was a lot of pharmaceutical abuse in that richer, affluent area.
100%.
Whereas I'm used to like cheaper drugs in my schools running around with the kids, even in the middle school. Then I came to, Idaho, where our socioeconomic class is a little bit higher. But the effect of that is somebody wants that to happen as well, right? Somebody wants the children to separate from the parents. Somebody wants it so that you can't go to your mom and daddy and you don't trust them, because then you can be like human trafficked. You can be human trafficked way easier.
You can be groomed. You can be manipulated.
You can be anything. Yeah. Right. Absolutely. So somebody wants this to happen. I mean, the Catholic Church is a real thing. I'm pretty sure everybody's heard about them, right? And it's not the Catholic Church's fault, but it is if they don't do anything about it. It's not Catholicism that's bad. It's humans that use a particular structure or organization to do their bidding. The evil bidding. And my area of expertise is education. That's where I can affect. That's my sphere of influence. But as an immigrant and an outsider looking on my new homeland that I adopted 4 decades ago, like all the problems are the same problems. Whether you're talking at a religious institution, a company that's being traded on NASDAQ, whatever it is, the YMCA, the grocery store that you go to, there's bad everywhere. There's sexual harassment everywhere. There's all the bad things are happening. It's good versus evil. And if we just focus on that and not like, oh, they're doing this to me because I'm a Democrat. They're doing this to me because I'm a Republican. I'm like, get past that for a minute. They're doing this to you because you're a good person and they're a bad person.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. Once you start looking at the world as good versus evil, not left versus right, things start to really line up and make sense.
Correct.
Trump's a perfect example. Comes in and make America great again, all this bullshit, right? Pitches us all these lies and everything. We want to blame Trump, right? Trump's the worst president ever. They're all the same.
They're all terrible.
You look at Obama's accomplishments and look at Trump's accomplishments. Oh, Trump's got us in the war. So is every fucking president before this. Yep. That's why these people that are so, and I have no problem admitting that I voted for Trump. I just felt it was a better option at the time than this Kamala
Lady.
they randomly picked, and she's now running for president.
To the front of the line. She cheated.
That's what I'm saying, right? So okay, we were as a country, we were definitely duped, big time. There's no way I'm defending Trump. Now what Trump did for me was realize, oh, okay, I used to be one of these boomer logic thinking Americans that were, I'm a diehard Republican because my parents. I'm going to stand up for my rights and defend this country. And then you have now as an adult and a free thinker, I look at Congress and I'm like, oh, the only thing that left and the right are standing up and cheering for is Israel. How can we not come together for children? How can we not come together to protect our borders, our own people of our country, our health crisis, our education system that's failing? How can not the left or the right come together on anything except for Israel? Okay, it's
the
good.
It's the distract.
Good versus evil. They're all the same. And so it's like, okay, for 1 minute, can you please in your little finite mind put your political party to the side and let's look at the large picture here and see, oh, these Democrats are doing this. These Republicans it's all the same.
It is all the
same.
same.
So once I started really realizing that, I'm like, that's what makes sense about.
You saw the light.
You see the light.
Took the blue pill.
Because normally there is no red. There is no there.
You just got to see the truth. And it takes time. And some people, even when they see the light, they still turn from it. But
because you have to look in yourself
right.
and realize you've been duped and lied to and you fell for it. And it's really hard for people. I have buddies right now that come to me and they're, dude, how are you not supporting Trump? I'm like, it's not that it's Trump, it's the establishment.
It's the whole thing, right?
It's the whole thing.
It's the whole thing.
He's a pawn. He's not running this. I'm trying to explain. You think this fucking retard is running this shit? There's no way.
I don't know if he can get up much or talk much these days. He became like Biden, so
which I'm cool with. And so until JD steps in, but I'm like, this is how it is though. I mean, there's no denying it. And so once you start really realizing that this is a war, good versus evil. It's not left versus right. Good versus evil. That's when you start looking at the Boise School District, going, oh. This makes sense. Why they're hiding pedophiles inside of their system. Oh, this is why teachers are getting caught molesting and the school system's hiding it. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, it's not that he's a Republican or a Democrat doing this, not that he's a Christian, a Buddhist, a Catholic doing this. He's an evil person taking advantage of children and not doing the correct job, and they're doing everything they can to hide it because they're evil people, not because of a political party. That's where us as a country, we need to really wake up realize that it's not there's only one party in this country, the evil party. And
they're running it.
They're running it. Yeah. It's terrifying.
Well, we're also raised, and this is where I can maybe afford to take a ding against the Western culture that I grew up in, because I was born in an Eastern civilization. I came at age 8, so my feet are still very much in both sides. But I remember being taught patriotism when I came to this country. I remember being taught, America's number one, nationalism, very much us versus them mentality, right? Like we're number one, the rest of the world sucks. And that came from, the history of everything military related that formed this country. I understand it anthropologically, right? But to understand it and to overcome it is very different, right? So you grew up with this like me versus, and it's not even a them anymore. It's just me, right? It's not even us versus them. It's just me versus everybody else. And so that patriotism, it goes all the way through the sports. Like those people who are like super fanatics about a particular team because they live there or they grew up there, those team members have no idea who the heck you are, okay? You're like, okay, little like Johnny Smith that paints his face half blue, half white with the thing and gets in a big fight on a tailgate party in the parking lot with the other team's fan.
One of the most
they don't know
things.
you exist. You're nobody. You paid their like mansion, but that guy's going to get paid more and he's going to switch to a different team, just like Democrats and Republicans do it all the time.
Yes.
Donald Trump was a Democrat for the longest time. He rubbed elbows with the Clintons all day long. And then he's like, you know what? I think I'm going to run on the other ticket because those people kind of like want me. So they do that.
There's no difference.
There is no difference. And here in Idaho, sometimes people do that as well. There's a bunch of people running on the Republican ticket against Little. And some of them, I dare say, might be, in fact, Democrats. But they're going to do what makes most sense, which is run against the big dogs, right? I've been entertaining the idea of running for public office in a few years. I would say I would like to give it maybe 3 to 4 more election cycles because I have no idea what I am doing.
They don't either.
I have so much more to learn.
Do you though? Why are you downplaying this? None of these motherfuckers know what's going on. Look how things are being run. You mean to tell me you're gonna go in there and do a worse job than what's going on?
Well, I don't want to do the same as them. I don't want to.
Just don't take money from APAC and stay a good person, and you'll be ahead of all of them.
Right. That might cause the bullet in the head sooner, but that's okay. I don't mind. I'll be like Magneto. I'll just wear a metal helmet. But I mean, I want to do a better job. I want to do the best job because I'm an Asian math teacher and I want an A+. I want to go in there the first time and do a great job. Well, the first time I run, which will be, maybe 6 to 8 years from now, where I've learned more about what it is where I can continue working with Senator Tammy Nichols and Commissioner Vicky Purdy and learning from them. Like, that mentorship is so important. 100%. We've lost our way with that, too. The master and the apprentice is super, super, super important. It's just like the teacher and the classroom of students. It's like the parent and the child. We need to build those schemas back in place because I'm not there to try to take over my boss's position. I'm there to become their underling and then get raised up to that position, learn from them. And if I make it, I make it. If somebody else comes better along, then awesome, right? I want what's best for the kids. So I want to learn all about all that because most politicians that I've researched, from presidents down to state officials across this country, for all the generations that we've been a country, not a single politician has ever had education on their platform, whether it was a city councilman in Arkansas or a governor in any state or a president from Abraham on to, nobody has ever said, my number one goal to be here today is to fix America's public education and make America. Nobody's ever said education, but education is the key. Mm-hmm. Everything else is just a cancer cell that you're trying to fix with chemotherapy, right? What needs to happen is we and a bunch of people older than us need to die, and we need to keep feeding our young the right things, protecting them from the evil of our generation. And then we're gonna die. Okay, that's normal. We're gonna die. Stop trying to live longer. That's not normal. The Hall of Souls, or the Hall of Souls, will be, like if you've ever seen that movie. At least there's only so much energy, right? Yeah. Like you gotta live to your best, move on, and then pray for the kids in the next generation and the next. We don't think that way in Western culture. We don't think about our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren. We don't think that what I eat now, when I have a baby, if it's a girl, my grandchildren are affected by what I eat now.
That's because of, I personally, and I'm not attacking the public school system, is a huge problem because of the public school system, because we source our children out to everybody. That is why I fight for homeschooling, is because I'm looking out for her and I'm looking out for my grandchildren.
Yep. I'm
able to see what's going into her body, her mind, everything, because her heart, her soul, she's not getting corrupted. She's not sitting in a classroom with 40 other kids with piece of shit parents that are giving their 8-year-old cell phones that are able to search things and bring that to school.
You're bringing the truth to her by putting people in this chair.
And 100%. And so that's where it's, I guess my question on this little rant I was about to go on is, how do we fix the public school system? If you being a teacher for 20 plus years, if you could bippity boppity beep, perfect school. We're going to use the Boise School District, for example. If you can make the Boise School District perfect, I know it's a loaded question and we don't have enough time for it, but what would be some of the major changes that would help bring these kids back to being part of society, contributing, learning critical thinking, learning how to fail, learning how to communicate, learning how to write, everything that I feel the public school system has lost. It does not exist anymore, which is the big reason we homeschool. How do we bring all that back in the public school system?
Connections, curriculum, community. So I connect with my students. Like, what's the recipe that's gotten me here, right? You say that I'm different or special or not normal. Well, but what I've done could be replicated, right? Connect with your parents that you work with. And parents, step up. You are one of 130 on that teacher's roster, your child. So connect with your teachers. At the beginning of every school year, my 2 children, before school starts, write a thank you card to their teacher. And then we put like a little gift in there, a magnet or maybe a gift card to my friend's restaurant or something, just to say thank you for being my child's teacher this year. I don't even know you yet, but I already love you, because why not? And they show up on the first day of school connected to that teacher, because my kid might do something wrong, and now that teacher knows that I'm a forthcoming parent that's there to support them. And if you tell me my kid did something wrong and we have a relationship, then you are going to co-parent with me.
But I feel most parents are a complete opposite. I don't mean to interrupt you.
Right.
I'm sorry. The only reason I say this is because now you have this generation of parents where they all have perfect kids because they've outsourced their kids. And then the second hey, we're having a problem with Timmy. Whoa.
Right.
They automatically defense walls. It's your fault. How are you having a problem with my kid? Like that. That's...
Well,
we want to blame the establishment, but I feel a huge part of what's going wrong in this country right now in our public school systems are the parents, are a huge part of this problem.
Well, it is, but it's not the parents. It's the style of parenting, right? If you choose a particular style where you don't hold your child accountable and you don't tell them the word no because you're a permissive parenter that only redirects your kid when they try to do something terrible like punch grandma in the face. No, Johnny. Or they don't even say no. Johnny, come over here.
We don't do that.
Right? We don't do that.
Hey.
No. Okay, so now your son doesn't understand consent or the word no. Well, he's going to go to jail, hopefully, if he ever does that to a young lady in college, right?
Facts.
So the parenting thing, I mean, that's a whole nother ball game, right? But we have to start somewhere. And for me, it's connecting with my parents.
Yep.
The building community part puts the onus back on the teacher. And it's hard because we are overworked, underpaid. It is horrible. I get it. You guys, I get it. I've been there. Okay, I lived through it. And I found the time preventatively to keep in touch with those parents. When I taught high school, which was the majority of the years at the end here in Idaho, I behaved like I was still a kindergarten teacher. I sent parents weekly newsletters with pretty pictures. I would make them a collage of my family's summer vacation and show them I'm a real person. I don't live in my file cabinet and and I would tell them all about me a little bit and my children and that and I would share my culture with them and I would say, I'm so glad to be a part of your family. Now you are a part of mine. I have 150 new children and cousins and aunts and uncles. Thank you so you got to give love to get love, you guys. And I get it. If you've been abused, molested, all the things. Yeah, well, I was abused and molested. You just got to keep moving forward. You've got to keep moving. I don't take a single medication. I never have because my culture doesn't believe in that kind of stuff. I understand that people need that. I do. I get it. But do you need it or do you want it? Right? Can you help yourself better than a pill can help you?
Absolutely.
Only you can answer that question. But I tell you what, the person selling you that pill wants it to be no, you need me. I make money off of you. Merck, Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, right? Maybe I take a multivitamin. I might take a Advil if I have a headache, but we're so heavily medicated in this country and we have so many internal issues that, again, the nature and nurture is you can help yourself. Stop giving way to biological excuses when maybe you can help yourself. But we don't give people the strength to think they can.
Yeah.
So then they become dependent on something that even the parents can't control anymore, right? Over the years I've been in education, more and more and more people run to ADHD as an excuse for why their kid can't learn, doesn't learn, this and that.
Everybody has it now.
Everybody has it. Guess what? Truly, biologically, I've studied neuroscience. That was part of my education degree at USC. Everybody has ADHD. I can't sit there and watch a 5-hour documentary, bro. That's why Netflix cuts it into 5 episodes of an hour each. We all have ADHD. Just learn to maximize your attention span. Learn to multitask. Let your kid do 15 things and then come back and finish 15 things. It's okay. Why are we keep labeling? Like, these labels are crutches. That's the problem.
I never thought you would ever have said that.
These labels are crutches. Like,
I'm not trying to label you, but I never thought you 100%. And
the labels are holding us back.
Again, I'm not push. I am actually. I'm not going to say I'm not. This is why, for me, with the public school system, we immediately want to medicate these kids. Oh, he's a distraction. He's got ADHD. Put him on meds.
Yeah.
But there's no reason that 9, 10, 11, 12, 13-year-old developing boy that's sitting in classrooms with female teachers every single day that he's not able to connect and relate with. Yeah, no shit, he can't sit there. This is why I think homeschool, I don't think boys should even be in public school until probably 10th grade, because they should be working with their hands. They need to be burning energy all day. There's no way it's healthy. Nobody, and I don't care all the statistics and studies and case studies on this planet could tell me sitting a young developing boy in a classroom for 8 hours a day is healthier than learning and being out in the real world. There's no way. But it's like, this is where I feel our schools fail us so bad, is because of how they're built from sitting in a classroom, raise your hand to go to the bathroom,
8
got to
hours
get
of prison.
permission.
Yep.
You're not told or taught how to fail and how to overcome. It's either pass or fail. There's no, hey, fail. Okay, let's go and do it again. You either, and then there's standardized testing.
Right.
You got to meet these requirements by certain points. None of that makes any sense being outside of the system. And it's like, okay, cool. I guess it works if we're creating factory workers and guys that are going to join the military, but it's, you take some kid that's a problem child in this classroom, pluck him out of that and put something in his hand and be like, start wrenching on this and start building that and watch what they can accomplish. This is where like I said in the beginning, I 100% support public school systems, but I think it's for certain, and not everybody has the ability. I know the million things that go into it, but it's so tough because we want to sit here and medicate and fix, but we're not looking at maybe why this kid's sitting. I was that kid. I go in the garden. I'm planting plants, and before I know it, I'm picking weeds, and I still got 20 fucking tomatoes I got to plant. I'm like, God, because that's just how I'm wired. I
need to be active.
If when I sat in school all day, every day, it would kill me. I would be distracted. I wouldn't know what was going on. I'm behind. I mean, I got labeled with learning disabilities and all kinds of stuff. Nobody ever sat and just took the time. Hey, we're going to go over this again. Hey, you're going to read until we have this figured out. That was never an option for me.
Not like, oh, you're not a good reader, so you should read less.
I was just always behind. And so that's where it's so hard. And I feel so bad when it's the only option, and I get it, because the option is so poor for our children, for our educators. The teachers are just getting paid dog shit. They're getting treated like shit from students because they got piece of shit parents that are now treating the teacher poorly because the student's doing that, and the teacher's correcting a student, which the parents have a problem with because they've never corrected their little piece of shit kid. And now you're raising this little adult, and it's just a cycle. And it's just like, how do we fix this cycle of our public school system?
The cycle, and it is as easy as it sounds. But it's hard to do because everybody has to agree to it. And teachers,
people are scared.
If you don't have the heart for it, then get out of the game. If you have a heart for it, hang on real tight, because that paycheck's not going to be worth it, and you might have to follow or beside me or whatnot, and we have to reform American public education. And I get it, but when you have that kid that has ADHD, because I was labeled that bad kid in class. When you have 30, 35, 40, 45, I mean, Octomom was dogged for having 8 kids, okay? Teachers are single parents all day long to 3 dozen children a day. Minimum, okay? How do you possibly expect us to handle 3 dozen children well when we're underpaid, underappreciated, over legislated by politicians who have no idea what they're doing. But these discussions have to happen so that these children and these teenagers, my target audience is teenagers, because they're the next voting group. They're the next ones that can commit mutiny on this country.
We need a coup.
They're the right. So it has to start somewhere. It has to start with connections. It has to start with dialogue. There's still going to be napalm all over everywhere, but we just phalanx this thing and we just huddle and we just watch our sphere grow. Connect with your community. Send those newsletters out to your parents. Keep in touch with them. Let them know you have a heart. Most people, because we're drowning in the classroom, don't ever reach out to their parents until something bad has happened, right? And parents get less involved as kids get older. You should be more involved in your child's life.
Thank you.
Right? It's the master apprentice thing. As your child gets older, you don't go like, well, I teach you how to use that sword like when you were 5 to 10. I don't need to go to parent-teacher conference. You're a sophomore. No, he still has a sword in his hand, you guys.
Wielding that thing and
He's
still learning.
still wielding and whacking it around.
That's what we tell her all the time. Now, but this is where I feel a lot of parents, they screw up from day one, is because you said earlier we're raising minis, right? Our mini-me's. I feel a lot of parents, they get stuck in that little kid phase as little Timmy progresses through life, and they don't evolve with him. Hey, new chapter now. I'm going to speak as a girl dad. Okay, we got a 10, 11, almost 12-year-old little... What's going on in her life?
Right.
What's developing? How is she processing things? Now's the new chapter.
Right.
I got a 17-year-old going 18. Hey, you're stepping into the real world now. This is the new chat. This is what this is what we need to start setting this up. You need to start thinking like this.
Right.
As an adult, a young adult, this is what's going to be presented to you in life. These are the challenges you need to start thinking about
the
and
master
processing.
apprentice.
But instead, these parents are like, oh, fuck, you're almost 18. You're going to be out of my house soon. And I look at them like, almost 18.
18 means nothing in my culture.
Then 18 means nothing anywhere except for here in the United States, that we push our children out of our homes. I'm huge. Very adamant on these parents are, oh, my kid, man, he's gone, off to college. Oh, I don't care what he does. 18, he's gone. You failed that child as a parent if that's your option. If you're excited for your kid to leave the home, to now leave into the real world, get themselves in debt, try to get rent or a home, student loans, you just raised this child to 18 years old. Now you just literally fucked this child by throwing him into this adult life. 18 years old,
I knew nothing at 18.
Bro, I was off to war at 18. I look at it like, holy shit, like what were we thinking?
Yeah.
And now we just expect our kids to know this. But meanwhile, you've given up on them the last 5 years because they got a teenager, they had some attitude, they went through those hormonal stages, which are completely normal. But instead of you stepping up to the plate as a parent and communicating, getting to the root of the problem of what's affecting your child, now that distance is drawn, and then the 18, they're off and they're on their own, and you think that's the best option for your kid instead of, hey, you're going to stay under our roof as long as you want, as long as you're contributing to this family and you're an asset, not a liability.
Right.
Dude, my daughter, both my daughters know. Right. I don't want them at my house in 25 years old.
Well, it's not a failure to launch situation. You're nurturing. There's plenty of failure to launch situations where the guy or the girl will graduate from high school and do nothing, and then the parent allows that. That's no better either, right? That's the other side.
Absolutely. But that's the rule. You will work. You will contribute. You're not just going to be.
You're not a mooch.
I don't need a parasite in my home. Absolutely not as a young adult.
Right.
But that's not how we've raised our kids, so I don't have to worry about it. But it's one of those things, and that's, to me, it's the government. Get your kids out of your home. Now they have their own bills. They're creating their own debt. They're building their own credit. We can destroy them however we want. We can control and manipulate them because they're not under your roof anymore. Now you're just putting out more income to the government, paying more taxes. They just divide our families, and they instead of these little cultures and communities that we used to all be built around and live in, now it's get out of the house, go start your own life. At 18 years old.
It's the divide and conquer for sure, even within the family structure. But as far as parenting, everybody, I mean, that's kind of cliche to say everybody makes mistakes, but I want to be able to admit to your audience watching now, I've made so many mistakes with my children.
Who hasn't?
Dragged in from my culture. I was beaten with a bamboo cane. I was spanked. My ear was pulled. I was called all sorts of names by my own family member.
Yep.
Lots of parental alienation occurred during my parents' divorce. all the bad things, you know, and I would have hoped that my brain would have not brought that into my own parenting style, but it did.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I absolutely regret it. And
Call that trauma.
absolutely. Because I didn't know any better, to be truthful, until I talk about it, right? Like, I've caused a lot of trauma to my own 2 children. I have definitely been an abusive mom. CPS call worthy, maybe even, probably. I mean, that's somebody else looking at me on that bad day. Absolutely, you know? The things that I said, and the reason was not just because of what I could try to blame on my own childhood, which is not applicable when you're 50, but I wasn't taught right in this American public school system either, right? Like, the westernization of my brain took me away from my Buddhist roots. And when I refound that, I was like, oh, I gave birth to 2 souls. They don't belong to me. They belong to the universe. Those bodies I created in my womb, I contributed to cellularly, but they came through me. They don't belong to me. Had they been born in a different body, in a different time, in a different place, I would pray that they would get nurtured and loved as well. So it's only been recently that I learned, oh, my son and my daughter are sentient beings. I cannot control them. I should not try to. I should try to have conversations with them where they might make decisions that I don't like. But that's also the prowess of power, right? Is to think that we can control others by telling them what they can and can't do with their bodies, what they can and can't do with their minds, what they can and can't do. You know, it's that when we barely have enough self-control within ourselves to fix ourselves, when we're popping pills and finding ways to, and finding other ways to sedate ourselves, right? It's chaos energy.
Well, that's why I feel one of the biggest lessons that we have adopted here is I'm not going to teach you what to think. I'm going to teach you how to think. And that way it's just an open line of communication. And that's where it goes into whatever they want to get into, because like you said, you can't control. I was one of those that these are going to be my kids. I'm going to raise them this way. They're going to, and then you start discovering, why is she so sensitive? And it's not going my way. And then it's like, okay, this is who your child is.
Yep.
You can sculpt. You can kind of, hey, we're gonna go this way. You can turn them a
expose
little
them
bit.
to things.
You can encourage them in all types of stuff. But your kid is going to be their own person. It's up to you as the parent to be able to, okay, this is who my child is. I'm going to capitalize on their strengths. I'm gonna exploit their weaknesses and have them build on it. Like, that's the greatest part about being a parent, at least for me, is realizing that you can, sculpt little machines. We've all seen it done. But for them, that you're gonna have some major trauma.
That's
from
very
that kid.
Asian culture right there.
Yeah, but it's just one of those things of taking a step back and realizing, okay, this is who she is going to be. I want her to be the hardest, most badass. She's gonna be this fighter, killer. I'm gonna raise daughters. They're gonna be just machines. Absolutely not. They're gonna be who they want to be. But guess what? I mean, as a dad, I'm taking that step back and realizing that, okay, this is where I want to build on her. This is where she excels at. Okay, cool. We're going to push this harder. Hey, we need to ramp this portion up of her confidence. And that's where a lot of parents lose it, because they don't spend that quality time just listening, talking, letting your kids develop and find things not on their own all the time. We are a forceful parents. We force our kids into trying new things, but I don't keep them in it if they don't like it. Like,
you expose them to new experiences.
Taekwondo.
Right.
Neither one of them wanted to do it. Put them in it. Guess what? 3 years later, they're both world champions, both black belts, because we forced our kids into it. Right. But if they were miserable, I'm not going to keep my kids in something that they're miserable in. But guess what? We tried it. We excelled at it.
Force isn't always a bad word, right?
It's used as a negative word a lot of times. But
just like grooming. I groom my husband. I've done it for 17 years. He's a great groom. He's a great groom, and I'm his bridegroom.
There you go.
Do you know?
Same.
And a master grooms their apprentice. It's just, we use words, and then they become weapons.
Yeah, especially in today's day and age. There's so much negative out there, and we use certain words that just immediately go to something that just was horrible.
Yucky.
So,
Right.
Well, I know you got to get out of here. I got one last question for you. As a public educator for 20 plus years inside the system, what is one thing that you would love parents to be prepared for their children going into school? Any age, any grade, what should parents just realize with their kids being in public school?
If I could impart some advice to parents to actually deserve the crown of parenting, because there's a lot of people who don't take parenting seriously, right? But those of us who can turn the tide, I would say keep connected with your children when they enter every single year, every day, really. Like, check in with your kids every day. A lot of us don't. I do. Sometimes I pay better attention than others. I'm working on it, putting down my phone, taking a minute to just spend time with my kids, listen to them, keep that connection, become friends with the families of their friends, start building a community so that you have a safe space. Like, you're creating a force field around your child that can protect them. Because the sad truth is, something bad is going to happen. It's literally just a matter of time. If it's not to your kid, it will be somebody in their friend group. Or it'll be your grandchild. And you may be around and you may not be around, right? And you shouldn't run away from that bad thing, because bad things are going to happen. When that bad thing happens, you have to face it. And there are people that can help you. If you're in Boise, I'm here, Laura at phoenixadvocacy.org. I have a website. You can read all about the funness I've been involved in. The police, I trust many police officers. When individuals come to me for help, I direct them directly to the police. There are lawyers that are good lawyers. I know several of them. They can help. You don't have to be rich to hire a lawyer, but it doesn't hurt. But if you have a good case, there are good lawyers that will help you on contingency, right? The media is like the drop of a dime. Like, we don't even understand how easy it is to connect with the media. We have forgotten, right? Because our downtrodden ways is like, oh, it's too hard. It's like, are you saying it's too hard because you tried? Or you're saying too hard because somebody else told you it was too hard, right? And seriously, if the parents in this community really want to stand up and make a difference, email your lawmakers. I know I sound like some lobbyist or some PSA commercial, like like take part in your American civic duty. But no, seriously, do it. I made a bill into a law.
How does that feel?
It's amazing. It wasn't that hard. I mean, I did the right thing. I got found by Senator Nichols and Commissioner Purdy, so that's cool, because I wouldn't have known otherwise how to, reach out to those ladies. And then they connected me with more people. But the police were the first ones that were on my side from the beginning. They're the ones that gave me their trust, and that's a huge endorsement. All the while, Boise School District was trying to paint me like I was the groomer and the pedophile, because I keep in touch with so many students and their families. I must be grooming all these students to stand up for me, ? So be involved in your community. That's the community of students that I built in the city are what protected me. That's why I lived long enough to be here in front of you, to tell you their stories. It was those kids that saved my life. It was my students at Centennial that stood up for me online when they would see news articles, talk about whatever, your podcast, the TikToks that were on Idaho Crime Squad. Like, it's that community that I invested in that I didn't even realize I was going to reap such huge benefits. At Centennial, I had students in Texas standing up for me.
Yep.
Not like they were like defending me per se, but they were like, yeah, you go, Miss T, because that was my maiden name. Like, because I used to do that for them down there.
It was wild to me how many students came out, all ages, all over the country, when your episode aired, saying what an incredible teacher you were, that you changed their life, you impacted their life, that you saved them. We would sit here and I'm like, fuck, dude, this woman's kind of crazy, but God, these kids love her. Like, there's no denying it. After our first conversation, I was like, okay, to me.
How do you not love your mom when she loves you so much?
Right? And it had to have hurt so much what the Boise School District put you through. You've dedicated your whole life to these kids. You've sacrificed everything for them, built this incredible culture around these children, and then just get shit on by the Boise School District. Like, it infuriates me as just an outsider that doesn't even have kids in the system, of what these people do to good teachers. This is why I feel we're in such a decline in this country at our public school system is because the good teachers get run out because they ask questions, they stand up for the kids, and it goes against the establishment of a lot of these programs, and they're run out of there. And this is why I love having you guys on, and I will always give my platform to anybody that is across this country. You don't even got to be Boise school teachers. It's just nice because you live across the street. But it's one of those things. It's just teachers need to stand up. Parents need to speak out.
Yes.
Teachers need to speak up about it, but they need to get over the fear.
They have to get over the fear. I was not proud for having to sue my employer. My culture
Nobody wants
doesn't
to do
believe in being a dissident, right? So I wasn't proud of taking taxpayer money either because it does come from the kids. It's because of my lawsuit and many others that, for whatever reason, instead of positions being taken down at the ivory tower like Kyle Dennis's, instead of everybody else up there getting a pay cut, they're cutting a lot of the facilities and operations stuff because they have to pay out $7 million, actually close to $8 million now, dollars because of their negligence. In my case, I promised that money would go back to the kids, and it is. It is why I don't have to go back to work. I am a freelance, free agent. I am an advocate. I don't charge money to help people. I mean, how do I charge you? By the boxes of tissue that we cry through?
Yeah.
I'm a volunteer educational lobbyist because there is no lobby organization that's going to speak up for kids because kids can't pay that person. Or the families, or the teachers. That's not a teachers union. That's not what I am. I'm there to fight for the kids and to see where the loopholes are, because that's the one set of people that are going to be alive when we're dead.
For sure. I got a question. What should we be looking out for moving forward? You're battling the Boise School District. What should the people of Boise, people looking to move here? There's a huge influx this summer. What should we be keeping an eye out for this next coming school year? Are there any major changes? Is there anything that people should be aware of?
Well, the law that was amended takes place July 1st.
Okay.
That really just highlights it again. Like, hey, it's not like it made it a new law, but it made it in people's faces again. Yeah. That you must do that, like report. And not just if you think it or you don't think it. It's not for you to think. It's for you to report and speak for the child. The child can't think for themselves. If they're telling you there's a problem, you do it. So that takes effect this summer. So that might be an interesting school year next year. There's a new superintendent. I don't know how long she's going to last, Wendy Johnson. So look out for that. Definitely look out for more lawsuits because there's several on the back burner coming through. And Boise School District is not handling any of them. I mean, we thought Dan Skinner being gone would help, but now an entire law firm downtown has taken over, and they all wear the same hat as Dan Skinner because they're your typical lawyers, not like the good ones that I have worked with. So look out for that. Look out for more victim shaming from Boise School District. They like to make their victims feel bad for, taking money that.
And these are kids, too, you're talking about.
Gavin Snow's victims were all toddlers. They were little boys aged 3 to 5 who were non-ambulatory, some of them in wheelchairs, nonverbal.
I forgot about that.
And
I don't know how
he
I
had
forgot.
over 200,000 artifacts in 4 of his devices confiscated by the BPD. And those were the 7 families that earned that money. Do you have any idea how much longer a 3 or 5-year-old should live? A long time. Do you think that little kid's not going to need some sort of therapy or treatment or anything? Like, how dare the public shame these children?
Not the public.
Oh, it is the public, actually.
System,
oh, absolutely. It's the school system leading the charge, right? And then when I say public, it could be an internet troll that's pretending to be something, but they're really tied to Boise School District. Who knows, right? But the superintendent, Lisa Roberts, submitted something she probably shouldn't have after the settlements went through in the fall, and basically victim shamed and said, yeah, this isn't really a big problem. It's only $7 million. And she basically blamed me and my lawyers and said, yeah, it's just a conspiracy of like one former employee and like a small group of lawyers. Like, it's not really a problem. So the delay, deny, discredit, distract. Like, I just go back to those 4 things, and that's where I find my meditative peace. Why did they take so long with Ms. Chung's situation? Why did they drag out the Fairmont situation, which was reported in 2021, 2022. Scott Crandall was in fact reported in 2008, when the year I moved here to Idaho, and didn't kill himself until 2021 or 2022. So, like what's going on, you guys? Like, ask those questions. Don't be afraid of the answers. Face the answers. The answers give you light. The answers mean you can move forward and fix it. Take your head out of the sand, because you're not saving yourself when you pretend like, oh, well, that's not my problem. That's not my kid. Your kid's not that special. They're just another Social Security number in the Boise School District.
Another funding. They just
Right.
they need asses in the seats for their funding.
Right. And they're hiring people that don't have the right hearts. Even if it's 1 out of 100 staff members, it only takes one cancer cell to have cancer.
Mm-hmm. And we all know how that spreads. I'm only speaking about the Boise School District because obviously that's what our conversation is built about today. Do you trust them?
No.
Should
Anybody
parents
with an
trust them?
at boiseschooldistrict.org email, I do not trust, because they have put their mortgage ahead of a child's life. Now, that is to say, if you are new or a teacher and you literally have no clue what's going on and you've never heard my name and you don't read the news and you're like freshly moved from some other state or whatever and you're just a spring chicken, right? I get it.
Cool.
I get it. But those that were my former friends at Timberline, at Bora, who've turned their back on me, shame on you. I had really close friends at Bora, a group of girlfriends, and one of them is tied to an administrator that worked at one of the high schools. And good friends of mine at one point traveled the world together type friends, okay? And that individual, the former administrator, now works in the ivory tower, taking care of a pretty important job. And I consider that a sellout. You're selling out. You must know something. You did something. You were part of some cover-up. They got you. Mm-hmm. They're all sharks in the Shark Tank. And they all have this like pretend Kardashian rubby elbow relationship, right? They don't trust each other. They're not bros. They're not homies. They don't put each other first, but they all have the same lie they're sharing. And if one person narcs out, then, here's your cyanide pill. You're going to go to the Grove Hotel and shoot yourself or kill yourself. Or that's the Brotherhood Code.
It's terrifying. That's happening in our public school system.
Mm-hmm.
That is Idaho's public school.
Yeah.
In a nutshell.
3 suicides in 3 years, 2 in the same school, 1 year after the other. 3 white male coaches, Scott Crandall, Lucas Fitzpatrick, and Gavin Snow.
All got
Same
caught.
School district. They all killed themselves when they found out the police was coming for them.
It's your only option at that point.
I hope so.
As a Christian, I hate saying it because obviously we know those guys are straight to hell. Mm-hmm. That's your only option. Especially the piece of shit that was a molesting, nonverbal,
Yep.
Yeah. That's a straight demon. Mm-hmm. How do you explain that any other way? That is a demon inside of a human that is taking advantage of a child, let alone a disabled child that can't even move, non-mobile, you were saying?
Yep. Wheelchair bound.
Oh, fuck. This is the stuff that...
Nonverbal. And Gavin Snow was only 22 years old. He went to Capitol High. I dare say he might have had some discipline issues there. I wouldn't know because he was a minor at the time, so you can't look up those records. But I don't think anybody just becomes psycho at 22 and starts, accumulating hundreds and thousands of pedophile child pornographic material on their many, 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 many devices. Some of his devices are Boise School District issued devices, so that's creepy. Who is he sharing this with? And I know that from having worked for an internet company before I became a teacher, that that's what they use for currency online is images and artifacts.
They trade it all.
So it's not that he aggregated or made all those artifacts himself, but there's a pedophile sex ring then, because who's trading cards? Who's in the baseball card trading ring with him? Nobody from Boise School District? Really? Come on, you guys. Stop being dumb.
You can only play ignorant for so long.
Correct.
You can't do it anymore. Not in 2026.
No, I hope not. My job is to remove plausible deniability so that a federal charge is much heavier and nobody can say, "Nuh-uh, I didn't know." I'm like, I've been telling you guys since 2023 at the least. I went on TV more times. I'm a math teacher, okay? I want to be standing in front of a whiteboard with expo markers teaching about how to graph a line. I don't want to be on TV. I love you, Bam. I love you to death. I'm so glad I met your family. The bread is amazing. This house smells awesome. I don't want to be here. I don't want to do this. This is not what I went to school to do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't want to be having these conversations with you. We shouldn't be having these conversations, especially of an establishment that we put trust in our children, protecting our children, are the ones that are harming them the most. We should not be having this conversation.
But it makes sense because if you are evil,
where's the first place you would go?
Where the weakest are.
Children, daycares, schools,
YMCA, anything. Becoming a babysitter, working for a religious organization where they have youth clubs and youth night and all those things. I mean, they take something beautiful and they pollute it, just like cancer. And it's very mathematical, right? Like if you have a bucket of numbers and they're all positive numbers, you throw one negative number in there and the whole thing becomes negative, right? You have a bucket of milk and you put a drop of color in there, the whole thing turns that color. But if you have 160-watt light bulb, the darkness can suffocate that pretty easily, right? Because you can't see that light through all the darkness. So we need to be more light. We need to remember and work past our own trauma. We need to stop drugging America. And we need to open our hearts to each other. Yeah. Like, there's no reason to have adversarial relationships when it centers around a kid. Whether you're a divorced couple, whether you're a parent and an educator, you're both there for the kid. If little Johnny is misbehaving, and again, I might be a unique individual, I get it. Most kids that have issues with other teachers don't have issues with me. So, like, what am I doing right? Can we figure that out and we can just duplicate that? Like, I lie to the kid and I say, "You're so awesome. Look at you. You listened to me and you stopped hitting Susie. Good job. Now let's take accountability and say, 'Sorry, Susie, I'm not going to hit you anymore.' Good. Now we're going to go on and play for recess. I'm going to keep an eye on you. And I'm going to tell Mommy and Daddy that your little Johnny got into an altercation, but guess what he did? He stopped when I told him to. Bet you doesn't do that at home with you. I'm just saying. And he took accountability. He took responsibility. Like, that's the teacher's job, is to complete that circle, not just deliver bad news.
How are you doing that when you're sitting in a classroom full of 30, 40 kids nowadays?
It's tough, and class sizes are only getting bigger. Even in West Ada, I hear, and I don't know inexplicably why this is happening, but I have heard, and I need the public to know this, in both West Ada and Boise School District, next school year, their class sizes are going to ramp up to 40 plus. So we call that the divisor, so the bottom number of a fraction. So let's say you count heads. This is the counting heads time, April and May, where they start figuring out how many teachers they need, classes, they start making schedules for next year. It's counting beans, right?
Okay.
So let's say you have 1,000 kids next year in your freshman class. Okay, well, to figure out how many teachers or classes or little pockets of things you put them in to sedate them with bad knowledge and curriculum, you decide, well, how big are my class sizes? If my class sizes are only 20, then you do 1,000 divided by 20, right? And then you say, oh, that's how many staff members I need. Easy. Or how many class periods you need, right? Well, next year the divisor will be closer to 40 or 45 in West Ada.
Damn.
And closer to 35, 40, 45 in Boise School District.
Compared to what? What is the percentage?
Compared to 5 to 10 less this year. So now I believe in West Ada, the divisor is somewhere floating around 30 to 35, which is still huge and breaking fire codes in Mountain View High School for the last decades, because you can't fit that many desks in a classroom. When you can't have desks all the way up to the wall. That's a fire marshal. Like, the fire marshal can be really happy with you. And so how do you pack them in with sardine cans, right? So when you start dividing by a bigger number, that lowers the sections you need, the teachers you need to hire, the insurance, and that's where the money cut is, right?
But if more kids are coming to the system, that's more parents moving to the county and the school district, which is bringing more money. How are the schools losing money when there's more people coming to this area? How does that make sense for me?
Half of that question is an I don't know, because I don't know how politicians pad their pocketbooks. The other half of the question is that money is slow. It doesn't, in West Ada is actually really poor compared to Boise School District. So Boise School District doing that, that's the corruption. That's what's happening with that money, for sure. But in West Ada, or I believe that to be, in West Ada, they're not as rich as they are big, and West Ada doesn't have like the means to get money from their taxpayers the way Boise does. Boise can just tax them. This is line item. You just take it. But in West Ada, they have to pass a bond or a levy, and people don't vote because they're all from California, typically more conservative or whatnot. So, God bless the Californians like myself that moved here. But, there's no walls, so let's open up. We're still in America, right? So they all come here. And in California, they're used to not being a part of their child's life because they commute 5 hours round trip just to get to work. So when they come to this place that is more Americana, a little bit more 1940s, their kids can play outside on the street, or so they think. They loosen their reins and they think they find happiness, right? But they don't think to vote because in California, a vote doesn't count. Here, a vote counts because you live in a tiny little city and your city council member matters, your police chief matters, your state senator matters, your state representative matters, your governor matters. Everything matters more in Idaho because we're so much smaller. But Californians don't have, a 35 to 40 to 50-year-old Californian moving here for a better life for their child isn't going to know to take part in their civic duty because they didn't have to in a bigger state that was more populated. So then you come here and you're like, man, that area, CUNA and all that area is growing so big, but there's still only Mountain View High School. There should be another freaking high school. It's been 20 years since I moved here, and there's no other high school. There's a new elementary school down there, Hillsdale. There's a new Victory Middle School. But, Mountain View has already, when I moved here, was breaking fire codes in the early 2000s. So, and then what happens? Then they get fined. Okay, so then they get that fine, then they have to pay the fine. And then they put up another portable. But that portable is a disjointed part of the school, and it's not heavily patrolled by staff or police or whatever. And those schools that tend to be more sardine can packed all throughout Idaho have the highest rates of police incidents. And they have SROs filing police reports on all sorts of things, fights and this and that. And you know what I mean? It's the distract part, right? It's us spinning our wheels like the sky is falling,
Yep.
kind of thing. So somebody just needs to speak up and just make people think, right? Everybody's just like the sky's falling, but nobody's like, okay,
Why is the sky falling?
why is the sky falling?
How fast is it falling?
And can you just stay out of it and let it fall?
Is it going to fall over
Right?
there?
And you'll
on
be
us?
okay, and some of us might die, and I'm really sorry for that, and it might be me. And that's okay.
That's life.
That's life. So this area needs to pay attention to what's their children's daily existence at school is like. Like, hey, what was this class like? If your child says, I don't even remember what I did in that class. Oh, what's your teacher's name? Oh, I don't know. It's November, you don't know your teacher's name? Have you looked up Power School? Have you looked up Infinite Campus? Have you been checking your children's grades? We're giving up on our children because we don't understand adolescent child psychology. We're giving up on our children because the rest of the world feels like it's pulling our children away from us. And we don't have the guts to just sit down and be like, so I've been a really bad parent. I'm really sorry. Can I start now?
Too late. A lot of times.
A lot of times, but if you don't try.
But a lot of times it's not too late. Just start.
Yeah, you just
Just
got to do it.
start.
I mean, I apologize to my children in the last year so much more than I ever have.
Oh, I check. My kids are at a point now where they check me on things.
But we have to be able to admit that we're bad parents and that we were broken children, and that's why.
That is why it's so important, and I speak about it a lot, and I have a community with men. We talk a lot on legacy, and everybody thinks that legacy is what is passed on to us from our parents. It's not. The legacy is what I'm building. The chains, the links that I broke. I'm not saying I came from horrible parents, but there's a lot of shit that my parents neglected, and they left, teaching us empathy and emotions and how to process things as a young man. Zero of that. Okay, cool. This is my legacy that I'm building that I'm going to pass on. There's no, because you hear all these guys, oh, fuck, my dad, Vietnam vet, and dealt with this, grew up with this, and but I'm like, you're just like him. You just talked all this shit on him. You're no different. And then you see the wheel spin. You're like, holy shit. That's because we have to build our own legacy. It's up to us to pass that torch on. And that is being involved. That is being there, teaching your kids, spending time with them, the quality time, being a
parent.
A parent.
An engaged, active parent.
An intentional parent.
Right. But that means that you had to intentionally want that child, and at least 50% of us I can say for sure I was not a planned child. And my father and I have definitely mended many fences, and we're pretty close now. I wasn't close to him for many decades because my mother alienated him from me and me from him. So now I see my childhood with a different perspective, and but even with my father back in the day, I've never had a sit-down conversation. I know nothing of my parents at all. I only know what my empathy can feel. I can read their minds, I can read their souls, but I need to know the stories, right? But they're not stories that they want to share, that's a red flag, right? Whereas with my children, like, they are so sick and tired of hearing about me and my husband's love story. Like, every day they hear how mommy and daddy love each other so much, and how they met, and how they're wanted and they're loved. And I still have the calendar where I tracked my cycle so that I could get pregnant. You know, I had 2 miscarriages before each of my children, so they're both my rainbow babies. You know, like, that's the love we need to lead with. And half of us alive right now that our parents weren't raised with that.
Nope.
And we're parents of children, we're not raising them with that. And that population I can hope to try to continue to reach just by being me peripherally, but we might just have to, like, Thanos that and just pray for that to just be gone at some point, then just hang tight for the rest of us. Like, we cannot give up. It can't be this polarized, like, oh, they're this and they that, and Boise School District that. I mean, there are good people in Boise School District. The majority of those teachers, if given a true choice, and they weren't in Hitler's regime and felt like they would be totally annihilated if they spoke up, they would speak up. But the union in Boise School District is just a concubine for the district, right? It's the wife that's the handmaid that's just holding down the handmaid, while the commander, Boise School District, is just raping us.
Yeah.
Right? And they're raping us at a record rate. I have good friends, teachers that have been through a huge battle with Boise School District. I got a good friend named Deb. She went through her situation days before mine. I have another great friend named Tori. She actually reported a pedophile in 2011, and that's never been dealt with. And that principal is retiring this year. His wife was the pedophile at Bora. Jeff Farley, principal at Cynthia Mann, hired Gavin Snow. Wife, Michelle Farley, pedophile, caught in 2008 at Bora. Like, the feds came and arrested her. She went away for 3 years, came back out in 2011, went to lunch with her husband. This teacher, Tori, reported that, and her life was annihilated. She stopped teaching. It was... So just depending on the time of these stories that I've collected, like, I'm somewhere in the middle, in my own timeline, and so many happened before me that went nowhere. Lawyers wouldn't take it. The district totally stonewall. And then after me, even, it went to the extreme of, you know, the delay that Ms. Chung felt, and the incarceration that, you know, Miss Marianne Baker had to almost
I want her
go
on still.
through.
I need to get her on.
That would be amazing when she feels it's safe. Trauma is definitely a real thing. And working through fear, I find, I think the easiest thing to help people work through fear is just me being there by their side, telling them you're not alone.
Absolutely.
That you're not alone. And you just got to keep putting one foot in front of the other. And if it's a year from now that you feel like you can speak your story, then it's my job to connect them with people I trust to tell their story. Ms. Baker has been very brave. She's come out and spoken to ABC and CBS. Several of the victims that have current suits with Boise School District, there's a lawsuit at Hillcrest Elementary School that was a child-on-child crime. That mom has, you know, spoken her truth to the media, and from what I hear, she and I are being held at fault for conspiring against Boise School District. Like, how do you trust your 8-year-old, your 10-year-old? Like, tell us what date it was that he was raped by his friends in that bathroom. And I'm like, how about you tell me if there was a teacher on duty in that bathroom on that day?
Proving to me that didn't happen.
Yeah. So there's just, and you know, certain lawyers are great, and most of them are not.
Yeah.
And all I can do is just keep calling people out. That's my job.
Well, don't stop fighting.
Absolutely not. Not till there's a bullet in my head.
Stop. Yeah, and even if you go back to teaching, there's nobody doing what you're doing, and you're leading. You're the tip of the spear on letting the world and especially the state of Idaho know what is going on inside the school systems here, especially in Boise, and how terrifying it is, and the corruption, the pedophilia, the cover-ups, the denial, the bullying, the harassment, everything that goes on with the students and teachers and parents that are trying to stand up. It's just...
It's sad when
really sad.
When I'm trying to bring awareness and I think that somebody could be an ally, but then their reaction is like so different than what I thought it would be. Then I have to question like, oh, you were abused. Gotcha. That makes sense. That tracks. Or oh, maybe you're a creeper. Oh golly, I'm gonna walk
why would you
backwards
not?
away from that.
If you have the opportunity to stand up for children and you don't, you're either one of them. You have major trauma as a child, which leading you to not even want to get involved because it's going to rehash some shit, or you're a coward.
Yep.
That's it.
That is correct. And that's terrible because karma will hit that individual.
Yep.
Those many, many individuals. Karma will hurt that person. Karma will hurt their child, their grandkids. Whoever it is that you care about, karma will come back for you if you don't do the right thing. I know it. It's happened to me. I'm not a saint, you know, like in my own personal life, in my family. Like I was a bully to my cousin, and, I was not a very happy person in my childhood, and karma hurt me, you know. So
that's why I started a charity and helped so many people for so long, because I had to clear
the karma, right?
Karma on my
you got to
plate.
clear your karma card, right? And you got to talk about your mistakes unabashedly, right?
Yeah, own them.
I got to talk about the molestation. I got to talk about the pedophilia. I got to talk about the rape. I got to talk about how I was an abusive mom. Because if you don't talk about it, it's just going to keep happening because it becomes a norm. And then what? Then we're back to here.
Yeah.
Right? So Boise School District should be watching its back a lot more because the law got amended, I should say, and emphasized, if you will. That happened, which is amazing. More lawsuits, that is also great. More awareness. Hopefully people don't freak out as more and more lawsuits come out this year because, again, I have 28 people on my list, and there are victims out there who have never been found still. And that's the other disappointing piece, that when you say you're sorry, usually that means I won't do this again, right? It usually means, oh, gosh, I did that to a lot of people. I probably should go back and apologize to everybody. That's the way I think. That's how, and for better or for worse, people might be like, oh, you're just going to say sorry. That makes you feel better. I'm like, it's a start. But Boise's never done that, right? Like when Gavin Snow was committed suicide in January of 2025, they did everything to cover it up. And it was only because the news got a hold of the information on a police scanner and called me the day he killed himself, and I hopped on the news in front of Valley View in the snow that night with Riley Shoemaker from ABC, and that opened up a whole can of worms. Then they had to deal with it, but they didn't know how to. So I was like, let me send you a mass email that tells you how I would handle this. You should hold a community meeting like the one you didn't hold for the Fairmont community, Lisa Roberts, where you just delayed, denied, and discredited and distracted still to this very day. So they held a community meeting.
This is crazy.
And then I found out from my friends on the internet, since I don't do World Wide Web, that Gavin Snow had served his first 2 of 4 years at Cynthia Mann Elementary School. And I was like, okay, there's victims there. Boise School District, first you need to send out an email that this happened. Now you need to tell people he was at Cynthia Mann. So you need to notify the public. And they didn't do that. I forced their hand for over a month, and finally in February they did. So I'm always having to, like a child, I have to treat them like I do my kindergartners from back in the day.
That's terrifying that you have to treat a public school, a system, the Boise school system, like they're children and walk them.
And not good children.
With by their ear, okay, Boise School District, you have fucked up so bad. Just send this email to the parents letting them know that, hey, if you had a child between this date and this date, there is a now known pedophile that was in and around your children. Why? Hey... I don't.
And the
this
letters,
is why none of this makes sense to me. None of this just. If I was that principal, I'd be like, give me a list of everybody that school, teachers, students, everybody needs to be notified. We're gonna make a public statement. This is who we're cleaning this up. It's not my fault. I'm not a pedophile. I didn't hire, even if I did hire the guy, people are, you don't know what goes on behind closed doors. Just do the right thing.
Yep, flush it out.
Flush it.
And you got to look for all the other victims. And that is the one thing Boise refuses to do. They had lots of secret meetings with individual families trying to suborn perjury again by not really quite saying, no, I will neither confirm nor deny that maybe Gavin might have had some contact with your child, potentially, perhaps, kind of, I don't know, because whatever. And then they tell lies on top of lies, like, oh, well, he was never with any child alone because when they do the diaper changing, they always do it in pairs. And I'm like, you don't have money to hire two people to change one diaper. Okay, you don't even have money to have one teacher to 20 kids. You have one teacher to 40 kids. So don't lie to the public. They started with that very big, humongous lie by saying, well, Gavin was never with, they told us Gavin was never with our child alone. There was always somebody there, even if he was the one changing the diaper. I'm like, they lied to you.
These parents are just, they either in denial or
they don't want to deal with the trauma because that's a fight, right?
The trauma, it's your child.
Right,
Saddle
but if they're barely making ends meet, and there's like a split family home, like in the Fairmont case, there's a lot of contentious. There's several families involved in the Fairmont case. Actually, there's like a whole bunch, and not all the families perhaps are aligned with each other. Maybe the parents don't this, and then you've got the Boise School District has been able to go in there and like divide and conquer the families and intimidated them. And then, there was video footage. What they were trying to prove with Chris Ryan's case last year in the criminal system was the case of the state of Idaho versus Chris Ryan and Boise School District was that Chris Ryan knew and did nothing. That was all they were trying to prove. Not like he was a pedophile or even covering up long-term a pedophile. Just that he knew and that he is still allowed a perpetration to occur after the date that he was notified by the BPD. There's video footage of him interacting after the cop at Fairmont said, leave the girl alone. Chris Ryan allowed Scott Crandall to be with the girl. Alone. And there's video footage. Google it. Just Google Fairmont trial. It's there. It's public record. So, of course, if he knew, then why was the case thrown out? Then, of course, I get asked, is it the judges? Are they corrupt? Is it the cops? Are they corrupt? I'm like, I don't think it's the whole system, but all it would take is one judge or one cop, or it's just one cancer cell. One cancer cell that's not dealt with. Yeah. In this particular case, the judges that were involved, it was just legal paperwork is what I'll leave that to, which is a super unfortunate reason to lose a case, right? But there's still the civil case going on right now. I'm not really sure what's going on with that because that's not in the news, so I can't really Google it. But I attended every day at Chris Ryan's criminal trial, so that's how I was able to get that information. And because some of the stuff the news put then, and then now it's been a couple of years, so they put it all out there. It's public record. It's court record.
Oh. Well, I guess we're spun up for the next year.
We are.
Maybe, unless something major happens, then we're going to have you back on.
We should be good. Maybe probably start the year off right with a little recap. I think some cool things might happen this summer. More lawsuits to be launched.
Cool. Okay, so once the school system gets back in and gets
August, September,
it gets cooking a little. We'll probably do it after September. I'm gone all September. Yeah, that we'll let the Boise school system simmer for a little bit and make their mistakes and whatever. And hopefully corrections to the problems that they have hid and denied and covered up. Hopefully one day they get somebody in there that just can be real and honest and truthful to the parents and the children and do their job. So
it won't be the next lady going in because I worked with her on that committee in 2024, and she's just another pawn, just another figurehead. The principals are also, yes, of course I blame the administrators. They're the ones that are ultimately in the power at that school, whatever that school was. There are, I would say, more than 75% of the schools in Boise School District have been tracked back to an incident, most likely a child sex abuse incident. That's on my website as well. You can look that up. I have the boundary map there. But this lady, I don't think she's, bound up there just to napalm everybody and clean house. I don't think so. But it'd be interesting to see what 24 retirements will do, but they'll just fill it with their own, robots that are groomed to be in those positions and accept that, very similar to my friends and their family members that are all, all the paychecks come from Boise School District. I get it, but your conscience, I hope you have sleepless nights, all of you that have turned your back on kids.
That's why they sleep really nice in their nice comfy beds that they can afford off the parents of taxpayers. But
I don't know about that, because I know a lot of people that do have a conscience, but they've turned their back on it at in the trenches with me. And there's definitely, lots of weight gain. There's lots of sleepless nights, a lot of anxiety, more visits to, mental health people, a lot of fighting, a lot of unhappiness, and we wonder where it comes from.
Evil's evil.
Right? Evil is evil. You let it, that one cancer cell, you said yes to it, you turned your back on it, you turned your back on me, right? When I was suspended, that group of friends at Bora uninvited me to a big party. It was right before Halloween. Didn't even have the decency to, say something. They just, ghosted me through a Post-it or whatnot. The issues that happened at Timberline were started by a math colleague and my math department head, who's still there. He's still the math department head. And he's like a raging racist, and he's always been racist against me. But that's hard to prove, even though it's not. Nobody wants to see that. And, they all kind of collaborated to take me down. It's petty, childish behavior, right?
Don't stand up. Don't go against the flow.
Right.
Well, I appreciate your time. I appreciate you updating everybody and the parents, and
thank you for
everybody's
having
coming
me
here about the system. And so I guess after the new school year starts, we're going to do a follow-up just to see where everything's at, where everything's fallen into place, anything that's changed along the way. So
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for this time.
Yeah, thank you for having me. And just remember, you are not alone. I am here for you. I am here for you. If a bad thing happened years ago, I'm here for your child, your grandchild, your great-grandchild, your neighbor's kid, whoever it is, the little you that was beaten down 20, 25 years ago by that teacher at whatever school. I have stories that reach me from other parts of Idaho, as well. But the funny thing is, a lot of those names track back to people who used to work with Boise School District, and Boise didn't take any action, and then they passed the trash and nudged that person to resign. And once you resign, currently the law says that we can't follow you. So that's something that Senator Nichols and I will be working on next year, as well as when you resign, whenever it is, whether you were found at fault or later found at fault, you will lose your pension, your Percy, which
you
is...
should.
Yeah,
you should. I don't think that's fair.
I don't think that's fair. I don't think that it's fair that Dan Skinner gets his Percy. I don't think it's fair that Jeff Farley gets his Percy, Bob Clark gets his Percy, Tim Stanley gets his Percy. Everybody gets their retirement except for me. And all of them turned their backs on the children of Boise School District and this great nation's souls, baby souls. That's sad. But you're not alone. Come find me. I have an army. I have a marmy, my mom army. There's a few dads. And that's scary in a way, because that's the thing that's my kryptonite, right? And they have tried to hit me with conspiracy, that I am, turning people against them. I don't think I can make up crimes and convince people to sue. That's pretty cool if you think I'm that awesome, but I don't know how to do that. Yeah. But I do know how to cry with people and tell them they're not alone, and this is not your story. This is everybody's story. So no offense, but you're not that special. Ha, 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 right? Like, this is happening to all of us. It's the playbook. And we'll do better together, right? Like,
Absolutely.
Don't separate yourself out. And whether it's negligence of like a rodent infestation at a school, or child-on-child crimes, or like finding heinous conditions in the cafeteria and the bathrooms of a school that are not being dealt with properly or whatever, those are all because of bad leadership. All of it.
Absolutely.
It's good versus evil,
Absolutely.
right? So when bad things happen, we're all part of the same team. If you're in the light, bad things are going to happen to you. Whatever that bad thing is, we have to face it together. And not everything needs to be a lawsuit. God bless. I don't want everything to be a lawsuit. It's painful.
Yeah.
I didn't become a teacher to have a
Well, that's
lawyer.
how they can contact you. They can get a hold of you through your website, through email. We'll have all that link. So anybody that wants to get a hold and reach out, we'll have all of your information on there, which you're doing great things. And yeah, keep fighting the fight. Do not give up. Stand up for your kids. Teach your kids to stand up for themselves. And if you have any questions, you are a huge advocate on leading the tip of the spear on fighting the establishment of these schools and to do the right thing and to protect the children. So again, I thank you for that.
Thank you.
For somebody that doesn't have a dog in the fight, it's incredible to watch. And whenever you need us in our platform and need to update the people of Idaho and this amazing country that tune in to hear what's going on, they're all yours. So just let me know whenever you need it. And anybody else that comes out and wants to share their story that you know along this journey, I know we've talked about a few, to get them on here, and we're going to have them on.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
If I could give a shout out and thank you to the Boise Police Department.
For sure.
As well as the Meridian Police Department. They're amazing men and women there who have, there's several lieutenants, some captains. I met the Meridian Police Chief. And there's great people in law enforcement, and they're pretty befuddled. And I'm like, don't be. It's not your fault. You were left out of the loop.
For sure.
And they're like, I'm like, yeah, it's literally that simple of a solution. And that's the answer. So I'd like to thank them for sure. I'd like to thank the over 100 state representatives and state senators of Idaho who voted unanimously. I watched in both floors. Those votes happened that very day, and I cried, like audibly. Sitting above them, they could hear me sniffling. I wasn't ready. So I'm very proud to be in this state. And yes, there's problems, but I'm pretty sure if I move to any other state, I'm going to have problems. So running away, it's not really my style. There's
turn and face a storm.
Right. I'm not even necessarily a fighter. I'm just going to stand here and just keep talking.
Awareness. Awareness.
And I'd like to thank my community, my students.
Yes.
My former students are the reason that I'm here sitting in front of you, because some of their stories can't be shared, and only they can share their story. And I would encourage them, if they don't trust the police, I trust the police. Come through me. I'll go with you.
Yep.
I will sit through any police meeting. I've done it. I've offered to. I've
witnessed it.
I've sat through FBI meetings with clients. I don't care if I get in trouble. I take people, I'm your emotional support educator, and I've taken people to ABC, CBS, KBOI to speak their truth. I will be there to support you by your side. If not, another person in my Marmy will, that these moms that have been taken down are now standing back up, and they're here to support each other. And that's how we get through this.
Good. I love it. Keep fighting the fight.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for everything you're doing. Perfect.
That was perfect.
That was great.